How was your weekend, dude? How was PTR so far?
Yeah, I'm exhausted, dude.
You've done so much PTR. How many times would you say you've killed the bosses?
5 times. We killed Kil'jaeden 5 times, I think.
Okay.
Some of the other ones more, but
yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And also, if anyone's watching you, let me know if volume is fine. I can turn up the boys at any time. So just let me know. I don't know if you're listening with another headphone, Crix.
Yo.
Yeah. But
no, I left my headphones in an Uber the other day.
No way. Oh, on the way to go meet Stay Safe?
No, it was on the way to I don't even know where I was going. Well, my wife had the car and I had to go to an appointment or something like that, so I just took Uber.
Yeah. Okay.
I left the case in there, and I'm really mad about it because they're like $300 headphones that I don't even use anymore. I got them because when I was working a normal job, I used to listen to headphones all day, and then right when I got them, I quit and started doing this. So now I'm just mad about it.
Can you contact Uber?
Yeah, I did, but I don't know. I'm too lazy to figure it out too, kind of at the same time.
Yeah. I've lost, actually, not even me, my old roommate when I was living in deep in Hollywood a long time ago, back when I was a DJ. One of my roommates was also like a DJ, and he was in an Uber back from like an after party, and I went home early that night, and he, for some reason, wanted to keep my skateboard. Or no, he went after the after party, he went to another house and took my skateboard. He like borrowed my skateboard for it. And then he left my skateboard in the Uber, and I had that skateboard since I was a little kid, and I literally have not had a skateboard ever since then. And now I'm skateboardless. That was like 7 years ago. I used to skate everywhere.
I was a rollerblader back in the day, bud.
Yo, what?
That is very
fruit
surprising.
booter, bro. A fruit
That is
booter. What do you mean?
very-
Why is that surprising? Why I got a skateboard like everybody else does?
Bro, I loved a rollerblade. Come at me.
I
Yeah, it was
rollerbladed
either-
as a
you
kid
were-
too.
You were
Yeah.
either a skateboarder, you were a BMXer, or you were a fruit booter, bro. And I called it aggressive inline skating. Don't call it rollerblades. That was weird, you know? Shit was
Aggressive
random,
inline skating. That's what
bro.
you
I used
called
to
it?
be- I used to be hella good at it too. This is hella fun. Oh yeah, dude. I
We
remember
used to
there was like these
go-
big K8, something like that. These like rollerblades that I wanted. My mom didn't get. Dude, it's a whole thing. I love it.
We used to skate along the Venice boardwalk.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could go from your house, right?
Well, yeah, back when Venice wasn't super sketch, and like my dad, my little brother, and I would go and spend the whole afternoon.
Yeah.
It was good times.
I actually used to go to Venice like every other weekend as a kid also, and just like go to like the beach, and then like you walk by like Muscle Beach and you just go out there. It's actually like one of the nicer, I mean, once you're actually on the beach, it's one of the nicer areas, and there's such dank food right there. You could probably walk there from your house though now, huh, Jordy? Maybe?
No.
All right, you're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to cut you off here because you have to fix a couple things. You need to make mine and Jordy's picture line up, right? And you have to put my name in the middle of the box. OCD is gonna.
Oh,
Just trust me.
that
chat, like,
happened.
3 people have said it already, and my mind will think of that the whole time.
That happened while I was. All right, let's see if this is perfect. I had the name perfect earlier too, and then I was fucking it up when I was. Let's.
I have to just fix it every time. It's annoying. It's so annoying.
Hey,
I don't know how people have it set. I think they have like a whole different OBS setup or something. I don't. Like I have a different scene, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah,
Like,
you always
yeah,
have
like
to
it almost like it
reset
refreshes itself every time.
That looks
Yeah, Falcon, I did that for you.
good. I think we're good.
Looks sexy to me, brother.
I think you. All right. What else? What else is there? What else is there before we keep going?
I think.
These nuts.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Falk said move Jordy over like 2 pixels. There's other than these nuts. There. Yeah, look. Perfect, Jordy.
What have you been up to, Big Sarthe? Where are you this weekend, bro? You missed the beach everything, which is very
dude.
surprising. One, that they even put the beach. Actually, it's not surprising they put it up, but it caught everybody off guard. I just was like, I had whole weekend plans, and all of a sudden, every single bit of them went out the window as soon as that came up. I
Yeah.
was like, oh no. Where were you, bud? What happened?
Someone just debated me. I was like, did I spell your name wrong? I was like, what? No, they always release, or not always, but lately they've been releasing PTR on weekends, and it sucks for me because I don't get to play on weekends. This weekend I wasn't away at Coachella. I have like wife duties on weekends. It's like already delegated that I'm there for the weekend, so I never get to play on weekends. Like never.
You're so much better than me because that's usually what it is. But when PTR comes up, I'm single and don't have any kids.
Oh, I would that. But you're actually married. Mine's just like girlfriend duties. So then it's like
so
you can't get it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you're like,
you gotta wait. Yeah, when I was. I waited till I was the married part of it before I started pushing those buttons too. Actually, so I get that.
I fixed that.
I think we froze.
Yeah, no, it's because I closed it.
Pictures were kind of nice. Just
I fixed it. Yeah, just let me know if I do that again. It shouldn't happen again. It's because I closed. Whenever you like minimize the window of Discord, it does that. Yeah, but yeah, so I missed. I did get to play. Luckily, thanks Jordy for getting me in on Sunday a little. So that was super fun. Went in, we one shot twins, and Maru took like.
To be clear, it wasn't a one
No,
shot.
it was a one shot.
Sarthe came in and we one shot it, so he was the secret sauce, I guess. But
how'd you guys wipe before? Because I one shot twins.
Yeah, I guess.
I didn't even look up the strategy yet. I hadn't even read anything. I hadn't
don't
done
want to
it.
hear that. Don't tell me that.
And I went in and I blasted and easy one shot twins. So apparently I'm amazing at the game. You're gonna learn if you're a hunter that this raid is just not friendly to your pet at all. And then someone sent me this earlier. I don't know who they were looking at, but like, I don't know if you guys can see my screen. I should probably share my screen, but a guild with 79 wipes on Muru.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I just linked that earlier. It's pretty amazing. Look, it's 12 hours of
12 hours of Muru. Oh my god, it is. It's from 2 a.m. or 2:50 to 1 a.m. again.
It's pretty impressive.
And look how many, like, look at pool 50, look at pool 58 and 59. Look how close they were, bro. Oh my god, look at pool 66. Or is it pool 66? I don't know what number that is, bro, but one of these pools. Look how close
they're
these
literally
pools are,
they're just like, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. Oh my god.
In the beginning of their night, look how many close ones they had. And then at the very end, they almost get it.
I think a lot of people suffer from just bashing your head into something and not necessarily taking a step back and talking about it. And you really need to do that for some of these hard fights, because you can't just do it over and over and over again and hope for a different result. You know what I mean? You gotta change something up.
Yeah,
that's a tilting fight to be on that many pools on too. By the way, that's some like retail pools type shit.
I think you guys have now, as Fusion, right, Jordy? You guys have now done the raid full cleared it at least 5 times. Once you feel like you've done the encounter enough times, because these raids, Sunwell's definitely a harder raid, right? It's definitely a step up, but it's a lot of just, in my eyes, it felt like a lot of just doing the mechanic. Once you knew what the mechanics were, just following like raid calls, especially like Kil'jaeden is just like straight up just follow the raid call. And then for me, the annoying thing was like, remember to bring your pet in every time you run in. And stop letting warriors with flames kill your pet, because they get hurt, whatever, victory rush from it.
Fire blossom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fire
I think
blossom and shield orbs are drilled in my head.
the shield orbs are huge. Yeah, I did Kil'jaeden on my hunter late last night. It was the first time I'd been on any fight on the hunter, and it was really fun. But the pet is a total nightmare. But I think most of the fights is just execution and knowing the strategies. The only like things that I see being an issue long term are people asleep at the wheel when a con flag goes out. Like that'll wipe your raid every week if people aren't paying attention, regardless of your gear. And then Muru, there's some screwy things with threat that sometimes like your tanks aren't able to get something fast enough as they're running in, and you can just get one shot. And then these fights, like you need 25 people. It's kind of like a retail fight where if somebody goes down, you can't finish it. You need everybody. You know what I mean? And so, it's cool that they're tuned to the point now where like you can't just salvage it. You really need a good fight all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the raid encounters, especially like Black Temple tier, were very much like you can kind of just slap through. Even if you lost like half the raid, you can get it down. But now I know I mean, maybe I don't even want to touch on this first. Actually, to start off, first of all, welcome, guys, to the Classic Life podcast. I forgot, and I hadn't really done a good introduction yet, but welcome to the Classic Life podcast. Me and my boy Crix always host this every week, as long as we can. We try to make sure we do this every week. And today's guest is our boy Jordy, which hopefully he's up there, is our boy Jordy. So Jordy, give a little introduction to yourself.
I'm Jordy. I'm apparently streaming a lot more lately, and it's been a blast. I'm in Fusion. I play a priest and a hunter, and working on my Fury Warrior. And Crix just joined, so we're slowly growing the roster, and it's been great. And yeah, hit me up if you have any questions about Sunwell. I've been rating it for the last 2 weekends like crazy, so I know a pretty good amount about it now.
Yeah, you've been in there like non-stop, so you're going to be a great source. And obviously Crix, who's just been in every raid of TBC forever.
Hi.
on both live and other realms, let's just say.
How you doing, bud?
What's up, brother? How was your weekend?
It was good. I had plans to do stuff with the family, but bailed on them to do some PTR and a bunch of videos, and that's kind of all I've been doing. And yesterday I took the day off, make up for the family, and today I'm back to gaming.
There we go.
You know, loving PTR. It's a lot of fun. I'm very, 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 very happy with the difficulty. No complaints on my end. It's a lot of fun. It's a good time to be a warlock.
Really good time.
Even as Affliction, I loved it in there. I was Affliction for the first couple of clears, and I absolutely loved it. And, you know, obviously it's better as Destro because I can pump more. But it's really nice. Well, to be honest, it's really nice because you can put all that PTR gear on and then go pump as a warlock. Because that's, you know, you're in the... I still don't have a lot of that gear that's on the PTR. Like, I don't have a lot of that shit. So it's nice to be able to get a skull and old BiS gear and just pump.
Yeah, because you hit... I mean, how long ago did you hit level 70 on that character? You're pretty geared, though.
A few weeks ago. I'm at 2 days played. Yeah, I'm at 2 days played. I have 4-piece, and that's about it.
Yeah.
You know, I got the ZA stuff in 4-piece, so I'm not complaining.
2 days played, 4-piece ZA gear.
Yeah, the character, the move to Fusion was more of a Lich King move.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's become like, okay, I got a little lucky, so let's see what we can do, you know, in Sunwell. And that kind of just, now I just love the character, because I like gearing it. It's fun.
Yeah.
I got to farm 100-something badges today, well, this week, so I'll probably do that before Sunday, get engineering and stuff.
And you mentioned that you like the difficulty of this raid, and that's always been like something that throughout all of classic TBC has been almost one of your qualms with the game.
Mm-hmm.
Has been like everything just feels too easy for you. So is this finally kind of feeling like what it did for you when you were playing back on Realms Unnamed?
Yeah, Sunwell does right now, yeah. Besides having practice, we usually don't have practice.
Yeah,
it feels really good, man. I really like it. It's unforgiving, easy, very easy. The thing is, it's easy to die, and what I really like it, like he just said, is it's easy to, like, you need your 25 people. Bro. When you lose 1 or 2 people, the fight then becomes extremely long or impossible, and then you're just like, oh shit. It just feels like almost like a retail thing when I used to play retail, where you guys are doing something and you lose 1 person, and in your head you're like, oh, it's okay, it's just this guy, and then if 1 more person jumps, and you're like, all right, now I don't think we're actually gonna be able to do it now. But maybe if we're careful, and then right when you think that someone else goes down, you're like, all right, now we just wipe it up, even though we just pulled the boss and waited for less for 10 minutes. So it'll be fun. I think guilds are going to super struggle in there, dude. It's hilarious. Super struggle in there.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. There's people who
like 79 poll struggle.
Yeah, dude, couldn't click cubes and couldn't, and no offense if you couldn't click cubes and you're watching this, but yeah, you guys are fucking struggle bust out now, boys. That's just going to be fun.
Yeah, I think that's, this raid could be the raid or the guild killer. Do you think, I mean, maybe that's why they announced Wrath of the Lich King at the same time as kind of throwing this on the PTR? Because a lot of hype, a lot of people tend to have, or I think it seems like a lot of the hype is kind of skewed currently towards Wrath, even though we have this whole nother phase that hasn't even launched yet, right? The whole last raid of TBC.
Mm-hmm.
But this might be, do you see this being like a guild killer raid? And even like, will GDKPs really be able to clear it?
I mean, I feel like this, it's going to be a guild guy day 100%. Wasn't Nax a guild killer? This is like 14 million times harder. I mean, I didn't do Nax. I can't actually say if it was harder than Nax, but I'm going to blindly guess that this is much harder than Nax was, right? When it came out, and how many guilds killed Nax, or vice versa? How many guilds died in Nax? So and this is much harder. And I don't know how the gearing. Yes, the gearing will be nice going into Lich King. Obviously, it's going to be amazing going to Lich King. You can run a lot of this stuff in there, but ultimately you don't need it. And the gearing in Lich King is easier to get raidable, like gear that like the good enough gear to be able to raid in Lich King is like easier to obtain than it was in like TBC, where you're trying to get all the gold in the world to go do all your tailoring or leatherworking and everything else you had to do. So I mean, some guilds might just be like, fuck it, we don't need the Sunwell gear, man. We tried. Maybe wait till it gets nerfed and go in there or something.
Yeah. What do you think, Jordy?
I don't know if it's gonna kill guilds, because I think a lot will be like, they'll be fine. Wrath will be fine. It's coming soon. Don't worry about it. And they're gonna nerf the content pretty quick.
Mhm.
It's hard, and a lot of people are gonna realize very quickly there's no way around reorienting your raid for success, right? You can't just like bring a dad comp and a lot of people like the most common question I keep getting is, how many healers do we need? And I'm like, 7 healers, and they're like, we can't do 7 healers.
Yeah,
I'm like, well, what do you want to do? Like, I'm telling you what you're gonna need, and they're like, well, we have 5 healers, and I'm like, you're gonna struggle, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
every time they ask that, they're like, how many healers? I say like 7, maybe 8. And they're like, what? I don't have 7 healers. I'm like, bro, well, then make your hybrids. They got to switch over, bro. They just got to do it. Well, how do you do that? It's like, don't run an elemental shaman. And when I say that, their mind is like physically blown. They're like, no
Right.
way, I'm not running an elemental shaman. It's like, bro, you're talking to like the warlock. You think I don't want to run a fucking Ellie, bro? I was like, but you just got to do it, man. Like,
It's honestly necessary.
But I like that though. I like that they're making you do that. I like that it's like that. I don't want this to be a blowover like Black Temple was, you know?
Do you foresee, especially this is a question for you, Jordy, since you know so much about healing. Do you think, like, what do you think the minimum number of healers we probably will bring, especially with gear from this raid, and then before the nerfs?
I think you should bring 7 healers for progression.
Yep.
You can do less if you're a specific guild who knows what they're doing. And if you have to ask that question,
you're not that guild.
You're not that guild. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I would bring 7, and it also depends on how they gate it. If it's just the first 3, week 1 and 2, and then they start to gate it out, then your gear can maybe carry you with 6, and that'll be fine. But from going in with a clean raid from phase 3 or 4, you're gonna want 7.
Were you guys able to kill? Were you guys able to kill like Brutallus and stuff with 6 the first day?
Yes, but the prop pally was healing, so it was like 6.5. You can do Brutallus with 6. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You can do all of them with 6. But for progression, you're gonna want to learn the mechanics, and the best way to learn them is to get further into the fight. And the best way to get further in the fight is to have fewer deaths, and 7 healers will help you do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Kind of healer comp you thinking? 4 shaman, 1 druid, 1 pally, 1 priest?
Yeah, 4 shaman, and then 1 of everything else.
All right. Make sure you have it. I think this is the first, or like, so far from my experience also within the raid, it's the one time where you really like having a resto druid. Those hots can be really useful. And more necessary than beforehand, where that's kind of usually the first healer you would drop in most situations.
Resto Druid is very good on some of these fights, though.
Yeah, Resto Druid pumps hard as
very.
fuck. Kil'jaeden, Resto Druid was on top.
Brutallus, they're really good for Brutallus for the burns. They handle all the burns, so like
really good point.
Ease.
Yeah. The shamans are really good all around healers. So you want 4 of them, plus they have heroism and mana tide and all that. And I would have your Ellie shaman spec.
What's heroism?
Bloodlust.
Oh,
you gotta learn, man. You're welcome to the dark side.
Every time it's said, it always trips me up still, though. Every time, no matter what.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's my pitch on comp. You can do it differently. You could do 3 Resto Shamans and 2 Holy Priests. That could work.
Mm-hmm.
You could do a Disc Priest but it's not as effective on most fights. It'll be good on Brutallus and like Kil'jaeden, but otherwise a Circle Priest is probably better.
Well, speaking about compositions, what do you think in general? Like, what do you think are some of the classes that are really, really useful in this raid? What are some things that are basically necessary, and what are maybe some classes that you might keep out?
You wanna go first?
No, go.
Got one. I would say not necessary, but one that I'd say is very important is to bring an Affliction Warlock, actually. I think this is one of those tiers where an Affliction Warlock can shine a little bit, where not only, yes, their damage is less than Destro, but it's not that big. It's not as big as a gap, and a good Affliction Warlock can pump, right? But also that Shadow Embrace, which doesn't really need to be taken, is actually kind of helpful. The 5% damage, physical damage, is big. So if you already, a lot of people are already running an Affliction Lock as it is, but I would suggest it. The Malediction is whatever. That's kind of like, it gives you the bonus. Yes, it's more damage, but that argument still doesn't stand because you make that decision based on how many casters you have, right? But definitely that physical reduction is nice. And even the stamina, you're not going to use that blood pact in a tank group or nothing, but that's like more stamina for the warlock group, or if you have it in a mage group or the healer group or wherever you have your Affliction Warlock, so it's kind of helpful.
Yeah, and it's what, 5% damage mitigation? That adds up so hard in this raid where bosses are straight clapping tanks in the face.
That's really nice. That's really, really nice.
Yeah. And then
the Felmyst and Brutallus hit hard as fuck. Brutallus, obviously.
Yeah.
And the Affliction Warlock's really nice. And I mean, I was watching Crix, and he was at the top of the meter as Affliction occasionally, and it's just like you're not losing anything by doing it. You're just supporting the raid. You know what I mean? And so, and whoever goes Affliction should probably get a little bit of loot prio, because it's one of those roles that is supporting the raid, and they should be reflected.
Yeah, it's one of those. Group 5 is blocked on your screen, by the way, if you want to move your camera.
Yeah,
it's one of those things where, like, especially comp wise, I play Affliction Warlock, and my Horde Warlock plays Affliction every 3 weeks, and then I just do it whenever Fusion needs it. And one Warlock is in the Warlock group of the Boomy and the Ellie, and I love it. I'm like, dude, I'll do this every week, right? It's a pumper one. But then I get one in the tank group or the healer group, and I want to hang myself afterwards. So it's like, you got to give them some level a little bit. It's always worth it.
Are you guys bringing Boomies still in progression? Do you see a Boomy being worth it?
The Boomkin's probably the best healer outside of respecking, right? Like, it's better than an Ellie Shaman. But we have like 4 Boomkins left, I think, out of our 6. We haven't really been recruiting anymore because we just do Restokin for the most part, or Dream State. But you could swap a Warlock out. I don't think you would lose anything. I mean, it's nice. The battle res is nice. The hair or the innervate's nice. It's a little bit of a safety net, having that.
Yeah, and I think I've seen a lot of people. There's a lot of chatter from people that love to talk about how mages won't be worth it in these fights. And then shout out to our boy Felipe from the Mage Discord, who's always like, mages it's fine in these long fights, but have you guys seen any issues with mages and mana on these fights? Because I know arcane mages, you do have the quote unquote struggle with mana, but you can manage that by just weaving in frostbolts.
As a very devout mage lover, I will say that mages are fine. They're fine. They are frostbolting though. If you look at if I was looking at the damage breakdown of the mages after each, or like with fusion at the end of it, and they were doing some frostbolts, but not like heavy dick frostbolting. You know what I mean? They're fine though. They're still great. They're still pumping. They're still fucking annoying, and they're doing a lot of damage. So you guys are okay.
They do so much.
A good
damage.
mage, just like a good warlock, a good mage will pump. Will fucking carry hard.
Yeah. And what do you?
I think you bring 2 mages. More than that doesn't really fit in that group anymore. It's really nice to slot the Holy Priest in group 3 with the Shadow Priest. And then what we were often doing was, like, if the Holy Priest was good on mana, we would just swap another healer in and just soak all that mana. Because these are mana heavy fights, and you will occasionally like run out and need to move in. More than 2 is just going to be hard. There's not a lot of AoE in Sunwell. It's a lot of single target. And our mages or one of them specifically is lobbying to drop mages completely in speedruns for
Really?
in Sunwell. Yeah, he doesn't.
One
wanna,
of your mages is
he
lobby.
he thinks he thinks they're not good anymore. So,
Well, with
we'll see what happens.
trash.
AoE, there's AoE, and there's just different kind of AoE. It's the AoE where it's like Cleave City AoE or like Good Seed AoE. It's not that instant, like your mage comes in and AE 3 times and then those mobs are dead. It's like
Yeah.
one lasting AoE, and you go into chain packs.
Yeah, and what's interesting too is like Sunwell gets a zone-wide buff a few, or I don't know how many weeks in, that includes Arcane Brilliance and the untalented Fortitude. So you don't need the mage for AI anymore.
Someone gets a zone-wide buff for that. Just everyone.
Yeah.
Both. Yeah.
Wow.
I think after it's like one of the progression.
Yeah, it's one of the tiers.
Pretty cool.
So then would you opt for, in your raids, opt for more warlocks? Because warlocks do really well with those. Like mages obviously excel at like very large AoE packs, where warlocks can be like capped and then go obviously towards the seed sets, which is just like haste and whatnot. So now with these, they're smaller packs with a lot of HP. Are you thinking just like, I mean, ideally mostly focused on progression, but like long term, you think warlocks would really see a shine there?
Spoon makes a good thing. There's no more seed sets. You're not going to use seed sets really in Sunwell because everything has so much haste on it. You might a couple pieces swap out.
Yeah.
Warlocks on Muru.
Yeah, warlocks pump on Muru. They pump on Kil'jaeden because of the reflections. Because the shadow reflections spawn, which are just like copies of a class, and then what you can do is just tank them on top of Kil'jaeden, and the warlocks seed off of Kil'jaeden.
Yeah.
And blow them all up, which is great. Because those things need to die. They can really fuck up your tanks. They're good on some trash. I mean, warlocks are great. The warlocks aren't going anywhere. They're gonna pump. You could drop the balance for a 4th warlock. It depends on what your roster looks like.
We're peaking. This is warlock peak. This is what everybody's the warlock copium that everyone's been huffing for a while. This is what we're talking about.
They finally scaled
right here. Yeah.
Have you seen?
Finally scaled. Yeah, they finally scaled.
All of like the clips of just like warlock. Just wait till next. We're gonna wait till we have Bloodvine. We're gonna have threat issues. Just wait. Now warlocks are in.
We also have some really good warlocks in our guild, so it's exciting that we get to see them.
Yeah, I'm impressed as fuck with the warlocks in Fusion. Actually, I'm not trying to shit on Sidious's or Mutiny's warlocks or nothing like that, but these warlocks are built different. Like me, I like it. Not even just the warlocks too, even in the raids, just in general. That's like all the people. That's not just our warlocks. So like I'll be raiding, and where I would be like comfortably ahead of some people, I look down and it's just a sea of other classes and everything. It's really cool.
Yeah,
really really proud to be there for that part of it.
I mean, Fusion just came up as a very very top tier guild in this expansion. So and you guys also have a speed run tonight. So
the Lich King is going to be even better, bud.
What would you guys argue would be the best tank composition for Sunwell? What would you guys?
I don't want to piss any warriors off, but probably double Pharaoh Prop Valley.
Jordy, I see your smirk.
I think you could run one of each or 2 bears and a pally. I think you could 2 tank eventually with a bear and a prop pally. Mm-hmm. I don't know how you would do it on Muru because that's just not the strategy we use currently. But you would want two tanks on the humanoids and then a 3rd on the Void Sentinels. So you definitely want 3.
Yeah. For
progression. But you could very comfortably swap out a Pharaoh for a Prot Warrior and you'd be totally fine. There's an argument to be made that the Prot Warrior is better on Brutallus because he has cooldowns that the Pharaoh doesn't. So when he's eating Stomp, you don't risk so much because Stomp sucks, man. He only threw Stomp sucks dick.
Yeah. So we could, I mean, this is something that I was thinking about a while ago too, but like this could be because how much damage things that really go out and the CDs that a warrior brings, you could see usage is. So like everyone who's been, I mean, all classes can clear all content in this expansion and in any expansion really, but like we could see some times where prot warriors see their like day, quote unquote, for like Brutallus and stuff, where they can mitigate in those instances, right?
Yeah, sure.
But it's just not going to be all too often where we're going to see.
Like in the same way, they could be like, "Yeah, we're going to use you guys for ROS too for the spell reflect," and then people just didn't use them.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not saying I don't see. Unfortunate as it is, this is not really the expansion of the Prot Warrior, but then I guess we also move into Wrath of the Lich King, which is not really the expansion of the Prot Warrior, but you know, you can play it. You can play it. You definitely can play it. And what do you guys think are some of the physical classes that really shine? Obviously, with long fights and cleave, Fury Warriors, especially with the gear, are really strong. How do you feel about like any other physical classes? I know there's a rogue in the run that I joined of you guys, and survival hunters, BM hunters, especially once they get the bow. How are you guys seeing this for next phase? Especially when I get the bow, it's gonna drop for Jordy's ult first week, and me the day before.
It's not an alt. It's not an alt.
I would say hunters. I mean, outside of Felmyst, Felmyst is a good caster fight because he's in the air first off, and then she goes into the air. When she's there, we're still pumping on her. So not including Felmyst, but and like the AOE fights, but like Fury and Hunter have been up there pretty much all the time. Hunters are pumping hard up there. Fury's kind of up there a lot. You know what I mean? At Brutallus, I mean, everybody's up there pretty much. It's just who's not getting burned pretty much. Who doesn't have to stop doing something to do a mechanic is pumping Brutallus. Kalecgos has always felt like the Hunters are just way up there with the Warlocks. Felmyst is obviously mages and Warlocks. I would say Warlocks more on single target, but there's it's a good mage fight because of all the AoE, but it's not really like important AoE, right? Mm-hmm. Rogues, I feel like the Rogues, well, KJ, they were up there a lot because that's a shit caster fight. KJ is. So if you look at like the damage breakdown of a KJ, it's like super heavy, not castered.
Did you put survival in group 5, dude? What are you trying to? What is wrong with you?
I'm just sending them over to where I get shunned to.
That's the worst, man. Poor survival hunter.
I know.
Survival hunter is the most important hunter in the raid.
It literally is.
Group 5, if you can.
It really is. Are you guys?
They have to be the best player has to be the survival hunter.
Are you bringing 2 or 3 hunters or what would you guys be bringing early on?
I think we'll drop a Fury. Well, we do really balanced compositions where we try to bring everybody. So I would drop a Fury, put a rogue in there.
Rogue, let's go, baby.
This is where rogues feel like the most viable ever, to be honest. Good trash cleave. They have very good cleave on trash here. A lot of these bosses all have low armor.
You gotta put Ret in group 1.
Yeah, that's what I was forgetting.
Then I would swap the BM and the survival, and then swap the Fury and the arms. Oh, what do you? No. Okay, so that group 2 resto. Okay, that goes in group 5. Yeah. And then you put an enhance in there.
Look at how many shamans.
That's 6 shamans.
Nice.
That will very likely be our first clear comp right there. Or
Yeah.
maybe we'll swap the feral for the prot warrior, but that'll be the comp.
All right, there we go. 6 shamans. If you think anything else is going to be stacked, guys, you're wrong. This is your expansion. Wait for every shaman to re-roll too. Every shaman.
This is the shaman expansion.
Yeah. And then next expansion is like we brought like a spell hand, so like maybe a resto. Yeah. This is a lot of less, so this will be a very balanced, very solid comp.
The group 4 resto main specs Ellie, and we're just gonna have them go resto for the first couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're trying to funnel them gear right now to help fill that.
Then get that
because
resto gear.
Because you have that player, right, who's Ellie, and you can't really like tell them, all right, well, you're done with your spec. Mm-hmm. And we plan on bringing them back eventually. So once we're cutting healers. So.
Yeah.
It's not that bad for Warlocks. Everybody thinks it is because we have so much hit as it is. It's not really like, we're losing some, but it's not like the end of the world. Put a ring on.
Yeah. With current Warlock gear, is it pretty easy to be stacked up? I mean, for like hunters, we have like
Oh, yeah.
terrible hit right now, so you have to either run a hit set, which is like using different weapons potentially or different rings, or like gem a little bit, but it's not like
Well, if
much
you
of an
have-
issue.
It's extremely easy to get hit as a warlock, especially as every version of a warlock. But if you have like TOC, it's even easier, right? If you don't go Zardoom. But even if like, I'm a Zardoom warlock, and even just with mana tune ban, I'm fine. And then also Loop of Forge Power is the JC ring that comes out with phase 5 with hit on it. It's like 1 hit and 1 haste more than mana tuned. That'll just cover the rest of your hit you need. You're fine. Skull has a lot of hit on it. We have so much hit, it's crazy everywhere.
Skull does. I forgot.
All our next tier pieces, the bracers, spell, everything has hit on it.
Yeah. Okay. So here's our raid comp for first clear. A very solid, very balanced, and honestly a really strong raid comp with the 7 healers and double less for a few people. I wanted to ask you guys, what are some cheeky items potentially? Is there anything that people might need to do to prepare? Like, how should people be preparing? What are some useful items, things like potential frozen runes or target dummies that can be used throughout this raid from your experience so far on testing on PTR?
Hold on, let me run out of the auction house real quick before.
Yeah. I've definitely seen things shoot up. Like one thing in particular, definitely, if people still aren't doing this yet, and I don't know why, but people that aren't bringing things like snowballs for these long fights can just, I think, I haven't even tracked how much mana can be brought back, but that could just be ridiculous for these really long fights.
I think a lot of people didn't stock up, ran out, or can't go get them again, right?
Yeah, RIP bag space for sure. They did get expensive.
They're just on the auction house.
Are there any? Are you checking right now?
How are you guys getting them? You guys can continue to get them. I thought you just stockpiled them one time. And
I have
was
like 18,000 in my mail.
Oh, you guys just super stocked them, yeah.
Yeah, in like
I
2
can't
hours.
get any on my Alliance Warlock, sadly.
There's a couple of add-ons you can do called like bulk mail or something,
Yeah.
where it just like empties your bags and sends it off. I used to use it when I was churning my mailboxes for the war effort banking.
I got a dealer. Don't worry about it. Yeah, my Orc
Yeah.
Warlock has it. It's crazy because my Orc Warlock was my main and it has all that shit and all those like candy, all the like food and stuff.
The foods.
And I'm just over there just parsing, so it's like kind of just sitting there waiting for week by week.
Pavel says snow machine. Yeah, it's 1 snowball a day, so good luck with that.
Yeah.
How many do you use in a run as a healer? Do you feel like?
Literally as many as you can fit in your bags.
Yeah.
There's no downside except not being able to fit them in your bags. So
I just like that piece of
you got
shit.
22 slot bags are now required for all healers and fusion. I'm just kidding. But you should have them. Yeah. I don't know, Crix. What items were you thinking?
I'm trying to push engineering on every warlock in the world, bro. To be honest, everyone's all cringing me for it, but I feel like engineering is massive for warlocks. It's so much free damage you get in a raid in terms of like overall damage. I'm just an overall guy. All I care about is overall. I could give a shit about bosses. I could give a fuck about the bosses, and I could give a shit about the trash. I want all of that combined, right?
You used to be so opposite, and I was like, dude, trust me,
I've
overall
always
is
been an overall guy.
Oh my
I've
god,
always
you
been an
loved
overall
boss
guy.
fights.
I've never been a speed guy. But,
Loved boss fights, and I was like, all that matters is just killing. Yeah, I guess
overall,
maybe not a
like
speed.
overall.
Yeah,
More fun because that's where you should push. Is my class. There's no skill. Jordy's never played a warlock in his life. There's no skill between him and I spamming shadow bolts and keeping a curse up. Or me and Sarthe, you know what I mean?
I've watched both of you play it, and it looks really boring.
Yeah, it's really boring. But in trash, there's a big difference on it. Like, you can be under geared in your raid and have a crazy ass overall compared to just someone who's spamming seed and spamming bolts with good gear. You know.
I'm excited to see you play it in Wrath, though. I know Affliction's a lot harder, so
man,
that'll be fun.
It's gonna be a lot of fun
to finally see like the difference between just like spamming one and having a actual rotation with what's it called, snapshotting and all that. It'll be really high skill.
The good class, not just warlocks too. This is for everybody, most classes, all you players who are like good at the game, or that you think you're good at the game, like you're actually like you can press your buttons. You're gonna really like all the glitching because it just you feel that payoff on your rotation. You feel the payoff when you look at the meters. You feel everything, versus just like, oh, I guess I'll just hope I get a crit next time, or see you next week.
Lich King really is one of those raids that, or expansions where like every class it feels so much more responsive. You're not just like prop paladin in current in like Burning Crusade, a lot of times you're waiting on CDs or waiting on globals or waiting on like something to come off, and you're kind of auto attacking often. It feels like even just leveling right now, I gotta be honest. Yeah, all right, I'm getting off topic. It's so fun. I'm getting so excited for Wrath, personally.
Yeah, Vander said it. Even like, that's why I hope more people do play Affliction. Even Affliction in TBC right now is fun because you can really see a difference. You can see the difference of a good Affliction Warlock on your meters versus the one who is, 12th bitching about having to keep up Curse of Elements and actually being bad at it,
Yeah.
Big deal.
That's true. It's very true. What other items? So I mentioned snowballs. Anything you guys can think of?
Yeah, there's a few. I would bring arcane bombs. There's some stuff in there that is silenceable. Fell iron bombs, stuff that's gougeable. You could do certain protection potions. I'll probably do another tips video like I did for phase 3 closer to release. But there's a lot of little things. The NG Invis trinket is really clutch on Eridar twins because it's a vanish. So if she targets you with conflagration, you can pop it and it will fizzle the conflagration. Pro tip. There you go.
There you go.
Gnomish cloaking for anybody wondering what that was called.
Yeah.
It's the most OP item.
It's
unless you don't get flag and then you're just sitting there and wasted an entire trinket slot. But yeah,
remember they nerfed it at
in classic.
Classic, and then I guess they reverted the nerf, and no one was paying attention when they did that
until BT.
Until BT for the pally skip, which is pretty insane. So, those are clutch. They're really cheap to make, and most everybody's engineering at this point. So, I don't know what else, Crix. What else?
Trying to think about it. I was more thinking on the. I'm just thinking of I don't know warlock tips. That's all I'm thinking in my head.
What warlock tips do you have? What warlock tips do you have?
Oh, there's just some enslaving demon shit you can do in here, which is pretty dope. Little imps in the trash pack you can get that just pump hella AoE, Muru trash, or Muru.
I noticed warlocks doing Muru and slaves. Is that a good
pretty
DPS
cool.
increase?
Oh yeah, the fucking fat one. It's huge. Well, it probably won't be on your logs, obviously, but in terms of killing the boss, it's huge. It's they do it's the void walkers that come out of the void sentinels or the big sentinels. They do a shadow ball volley and then they melee, but the melee's like whatever. But the shadow ball volley is like, I don't have my logs up, but it's like shadow ball and then shadow ball volley is like half my damage overall for something like that. It's a lot of damage.
Damn.
Awesome, but they die really easy. But you can use like sporling snacks and give them some fucking damn spirit or kibblers to make them hit a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's definitely a good warlock tip. Make sure you're enslaving those and buffing them, even.
Oh, yeah,
keeping them alive.
Yeah, don't worry, guys. I'll have everything up on the channel about warlock stuff here soon.
Yeah, and then like warlock wise on that fight, I noticed a lot of people aren't sicking the Voidwalker on the correct thing. It's just kind of standing there. So make sure you're working on those macros that you know how to get it to attack, because it's a lot of damage on the table you're leaving.
There was
I'm attacking like the humanoids or something, which isn't correct, right?
Yeah, I have Bloodwill's tank tier list for Wrath of the Lich King up. Is warrior above everything, but there's quite a bit actually with pet management, I think, and I might have it on this screen in this raid. That is, I mean, warlocks haven't really had to worry about pet management for quite a while, but for hunters in specific, right? Like, were you able to full clear yesterday with your hunter? Did you see how intense it can be?
Did Kil'jaeden on the hunter, but I've been watching you and Hands and Clinks and our other hunters, and it looks like a really hard raid for pets. I know Hands went on a massive tirade about us not healing pets enough, and I can see that coming after progression. Because I mean, for a BM hunter especially, pet is 30% of your damage. So
yeah, when
you lose it, it sucks. And it's probably more because you're losing all that mana, and the fights are really long, so it's just extra bad.
And then it's not buffed anymore.
Yeah, it's just a nightmare.
Don't you have tonks and shit, bro?
Yeah, but there's times where you can't tonk it again. There's a lot of one of the fights.
30 seconds.
Right? Yeah, one of the fights here, I'm gonna pull up like one of Jordy's VODs in a second. In particular, Muru is a fight where you're always watching where your pet's sent, because you're not sending your pet at the Voidwalkers or the spawns and you're killing them, but you need to also bring your pet out whenever Muru does the darkness. So you need to have like a mouse over macro and always be watching when you can send your pet in and when you can bring your pet out. And if your pet stays in when he does the darkness and you're not paying attention, you're DPSing something else, it's just dead. You can go Wind Serpent, kinda. We'll see.
It's not that hard though, because
Yeah.
us warlocks are able to do it with like a demon that has not even a percentage of the health that your guys' pets have. You guys will catch on to it. You just gotta know after you do a full pull, a few pulls,
come
you'll
out
see
at
the
start
pathing
of
for
each
everything, and you'll
phase?
send it in on the right.
That's right. So at 85,
Does
Definitely
Wind
mouse over
Serpent?
pet, yeah.
Because it doesn't touch the ground. Does it take damage from the darkness?
I am not sure.
I doubt that. That'd be insane. Has there been any other instance where they could do
There's
that?
some dumb shit, Crix, so I'll tell you later about. But yes,
Oh wow, fucking bastards!
That
Everybody cheating but warlocks, bro.
I'm sure everybody will test it now. We'll find out in a second. But
Starts logging in right now to check.
yeah, no,
if that is the case, it's a strong
very strong case for it.
case for Wind Serpent over Ravager.
Yeah,
Look in the
you could
100
just-
Discord. No one's tried it yet.
I don't know. I don't look.
Gotcha, I'm gonna look.
Yeah.
How do you?
So definitely gonna be something to be tested for sure, because if it can save yourself from dying to so many mechanics, and if it could stay in and DPS the boss, that would be absolutely insane. You could just
Exactly.
eventually set up. Eventually, it'd be sweet to have your hunter set up to just pump Maru, especially like if you have one BM.
Bet
if
you want
can.
that, yeah.
Yeah. Because we
Not
have
to
like
do mechanics and just
sit there and pump.
Just Hunter Simulator, yeah.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, we're gonna get that too. We're gonna get that, and people are gonna parse, and it's gonna be beautiful.
This is one of those fights that the way that you do it will change the most.
Post progression.
Yes, because
Yeah.
of raid DPS, and the amount of sentinels you get will matter for speedruns especially, and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Having people that like pumping the boss as hard as you can in that first like window too, because there's so much uptime on that first window, will be very large as well. So we'll see. I did want to touch on all of the bosses, like, and go through kind of like a mini bit of strategy. As you guys can see in the background, that's the void zone you want to obviously avoid during phase 1 of Maru, and you need your pet to be out during that. But you also, as a hunter, need to be DPSing those void sentinels who do have an AoE that they do, which will kill your pet. So your pet's going to be here on the berserkers and then back in on Maru while you're DPSing the sentinels. It's going to be a really fun, I think, my opinion
Not as
is
bad as you think it is.
no, it's really fun when you get used to it. I think it's really, really fun to get used to. Yeah. Yeah.
This is one of those fights that everybody needs to do what their job is perfectly. And when it works, it's just this beautiful dance, and it's so fucking fun. This fight in Kil'jaeden especially.
Yeah. It feels like once your raid has it down, like the idea down, there's less of RNG and more of I mean, some raid fights, I think you should be able to deal with every fight with less of like a random RNG. Like early Vosh felt like, remember, there was like that, if you get bad like MCs, you just like wiped, you know? It felt like so
Yep.
unlucky. Yeah, the poisons on like melee, it just felt bad. Like speed runs would wipe on Vosh after like full clearing the whole raid with like the best people, and then go in and wipe on Vosh. So like this raid feels, so far at least, feels less like that, and it's more of personal mistakes that can cause the issues.
Yeah, I mean, the speedruns for Vosh ended up pulling that extra trash pull in, which we did, and it was so much fun. Like,
Yeah.
but Vosh even then was like, what, having that last boss be an epic risk was really an awesome thing to see. Like knowing that you could have a perfect run and then Vosh could fuck you made the whole thing so exciting all the way through. Because like Illidan, generally you get to Illidan, it's like, okay, the run's over. Like I can stop watching and extrapolate what time you'll get.
Hopefully.
But yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Vosh and KT were one of those fights where, depending on how much trash was in the room for KT, or it had its own challenges.
Yeah, I mean, we still do see people kind of fall apart at the end of Black Temple, especially with like Council. We've seen a lot of mess ups there, but like Black Temple speedruns, I mean, I don't want to sidetrack too much, but Black Temple speedruns are so fun, and I think we've seen a lot of like crazy runs, like even today with like Progress's run, Newman's run, Luna's run, just one thing going wrong, accidentally pulling a little bit too much. Newman's going their second run right now, their physical comp. That's what a lot of people are leaning towards, these physical comps. So I think, do you think Black Temp or Sunwell will be a raid that gets speed ran? I mean, it will, but do you think it's as entertaining of a speed run as, let's say, maybe Black Temple?
You can like skip a lot of the trash, though. That's the thing. You can mine suit, skip edges, stuff. Some like a lot of the trash here, so probably not that exciting. I think it'll just go down to who can skip it the fastest and then kill these hard bosses, maybe.
Well, Warcraft blogs will require everything you can, everything that can't be skipped with like a invis skip or something. Right? If there's a pat or something that like you don't need to pull within the pathing, Warcraft Logs doesn't require that ever. But if there's something that like you need to do something to skip it, which you can, and obviously Race the World first, we'll see Progress kill one trash mob. We'll see you guys Fusion kill 2 trash packs, you know? That's usually the plan, and that's always the big difference from Race the World first and speedruns.
The interesting difference, though, is like I honestly think that you'll get top 5 if you can clear the whole place without wiping.
Yeah.
And that's going to be hard because the PTR will go down probably 2 weeks before the release, at least, and then you'll have 2 weeks of forgetting how things work, and that's going to cause a disconnect between what you've done for these last couple weekends and what the progression run will be. Also, skipping trash in that scenario, it's like if you skip it and you do wipe, what do you do then? Like,
yeah,
it sucks getting back. It sucks, and that's a risk that you'd have to bake into what you decide to do. And there are some skips that people have already kind of been publicizing, and there's a litany of skips that everybody is kind of keeping to themselves.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for everyone to see what those are. And like we had that door skip for Gorefiend or for Gurtog in Black Temple, and I think Overclock did the same thing. But that is child's play compared to some of the stuff that you're going to see in Sunwell. So it's very exciting.
So Sunwell, Race the World first, gonna be a really good one to watch from the top guilds.
It really is. It's gonna. I mean, you know how watching Progress right now, watching them fail, had this sad but this weird vibe of everyone's kind of. It's fun to watch them fail, but also feels bad.
Yeah,
I think there's gonna be a lot of that in Sunwell progression. That first day.
I think a lot of people are gonna fuck up in Sunwell. I can't wait to watch them. All these other guilds, yeah.
All these other guilds.
I
think other people are gonna
too. They have to practice. I hope people are practicing it.
I think any guild going for race has been practicing. That's definitely. But a lot of guilds, I think the progression for guilds that haven't been in there practicing is going to be a lot slower. Like, did you guys full clear your first night?
Took us 2 days.
2 days.
We did Eridar Twins and then did Muru and Kil'jaeden the next day.
Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of guilds, even very, very good guilds, will run into that as well if they haven't done any sort of PTR. I mean, ideally, everyone spends time on PTR, right? It's just most people can play on weekends. I think I'm one of the rare few that can't. So PTRs kind of owns me, but generally. But one thing I did mention this a second ago. I want to know, basically, you're kind of, are you allowed to share any sort of like your strategies or just kind of an overview of the bosses and kind of a quick breakdown of the bosses so people know what to look for when they enter these raids and what to think about on these bosses themselves? Even if they're not going in. Of course, Crix, I know you're going to release guides on all of them. Jordy, I know you have VODs released already of full clears and everything. But I think just even anyone listening or watching, just so that they can have like a quick breakdown of all of the bosses themselves. I leave it to either of you. Either.
What's the site you're on right now? Ready.com.
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
Rady. Oh yeah.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it was this is one that was sent to me, and it just had a nice aesthetic of all of the boss mechanics. So I pulled that up.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. We can do a tier list of the difficulty after. I mean, there's 6 bosses. It's a short raid.
I can get one made real quick.
Yeah. But
The tier
all
list
right,
one.
all right, Jordy. Come in. Let me know. What do you can you break down the Kalecgos fight for us?
Sure. So Kalecgos is actually one of the more complicated fights because it's got 2 arenas. But it's probably the easiest fight in there, maybe the second easiest. As you enter the arena, there's a big dragon. You tank the dragon. It's a normal dragon fight, and he does this random wild magic buffs or debuffs that apply. That apply certain buffs on you or debuffs. None of them really matter except maybe like the 100% threat one. That one kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But after a certain amount of time, he's going to cast a portal on somebody who will teleport them into a demon realm where that guy Sathravar the Corruptor is, and he's fighting the humanoid version of Kalecgos. And you need to kill. The goal is to kill Sathravar and the dragon Kalecgos at the same time, or kill them both at least. The trick is at 10%. Whenever either of them hits 10%, they enrage, and so you kind of want to get them close to 10% at the same time and then burn, because the enrage, the tanks get hit really, really hard. So you don't want to be in that window for very long.
Yeah.
So the goal of the fight is to get enough people in that portal to kill Sathravar while also keeping the dragon tanked and killing it up above. So you have to kind of balance the raid around these portals, and you only get a minute in the demon realm before you get kicked back out. And then you get a minute of waiting in the dragon realm until you can go back into the demon realm. So there's a delicate rotation of people going, collections of raiders going down into the demon realm and then back out.
Yeah.
That you kind of have to decide ahead of time who's going to do what, but it also is dependent on who gets teleported, because that's a random raider. So
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of the fight. Sathravar can be tanked by Kalecgos for a while, but you do need a tank to taunt off Kalecgos because he will die. And then it can get pretty spicy in the Dragon Realm because there's an insane amount of AoE damage going out that stacks up over time. And when you go into the Demon Realm, those stacks fall off. So everybody needs to be moving back and forth throughout the realms until both of them die.
Have you guys opted towards the use of arcane resistance at all, or because the stacks can be technically resisted, right?
Yeah, I think it's probably a good idea to wear a couple pieces for the first week or two till you're really comfortable with it. It's not gonna majorly impact your raid DPS, and it will just make the fight a little bit easier. Clearly, it didn't work here. But yeah, I think it's worth it. Like if you have your Z8 or your Kara trinket lying around, or the arcane resist cloak, which you can throw 15 arcane resist on, that's a 47 right there in one slot, so that's pretty nice. So that helps cut a lot of that arcane buffet damage.
Yeah. And what would you say are some of the biggest issues people are going to run into on this fight itself? Any idea?
I think that a lot of people don't realize after they've gone into the demon portal the first time that they need to go back down. Because they get a debuff when they come back up into this area, but then you still need to go back down after this debuff falls off. So they forget that
To rotate.
that's important.
Yeah.
Send you that tier list.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
And then your tank's kind of figuring out how the fight works. What we've been using is a pally tank on the dragon, and it helps because they can bubble off the arcane buffet, and that's really nice because you just don't even have to think about taking the dragon. You just got one person on the dragon for the most part for most of the fight. So
their abilities, so I can show the arcane buffet.
Crix, what did you think about this fight? Was it?
The
It
portal
seems like
thing's
a
kind of
pretty.
annoying, as someone said. With the portal, you kind of got to watch the portal. There's like a little mini cooldown on the portal, as he just said in chat too. Like you can't, you got to just spam click it. Like if it goes,
Okay, not
it's on the
everybody
Warlock group.
click it at
Yeah,
the exact
you
same
can all
time.
no, it like bugs out. I don't know if it's a bug or if it's supposed to do it. It never
Uh.
did it on private servers. You could just click it, but like pretty much if you click it, I have to wait like a half a second and then click it. You know what I mean? It won't even have the gear icon. So
That's
pretty much
kind
we're
of
all just, is it a portal CD? Okay, yeah. We all just go spam it until it takes us down there. I think it's really big for like warlocks to put your dots up if you're affliction. Also, it's very big. It falls off sometimes a lot. I remember this on private servers more, mainly because the fusion warlocks are good. But they making sure this curse down here stays on this guy, because the warlocks all go down together. Curse rec is 2 minutes, and if we for some reason don't come back down because of whatever reason, people forget that shit and don't have their curses up.
yeah.
Other than that, I ain't got nothing.
So make sure you renew that.
This
Also,
thing is big in this place, bigger than it's ever been. So make sure your curses like your first global all the time. Trash packs, everything.
yeah, and this boss obviously is, I mean, the dragon phase is a dragon, so he has a frost breath up top, which I think is dispellable. Correct me if I'm wrong. And he does a tail lash, which just knocks people back or like stuns them. So normal dragon behavior for melee. But you mentioned the arcane buffet and using a pally tank to tank the boss up top, because the arcane buffet deals moderate arcane damage. Well, it's the AoE, right? It's the stackable debuff that increases arcane damage taken for 40 seconds, and he uses it every 8 seconds. So it's just damage that adds up and makes your tank take more and more. And you can just bubble cancel aura and drop it really easily.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for weak auras here. You can see I'm testing like 90 weak auras right now, and my
Yeah.
screen looks like dog shit. But I really need to figure out how to condense some of these into stuff that I actually need to know. Thames is up there. There's a random Kalecgos sync one, which is showing more information than I need. But yeah, it's a fun fight. I don't think we've necessarily killed it cleanly yet. I think all the other bosses we've killed cleanly. This is the only fight where I'm just like, we scrape by. But I would say it's one of the easier ones. It only takes us 1 or 2 attempts most of the time.
Mhm.
I was in a pug a couple days ago on this on my warlock, and we were killing it. We've one shot the boss, right? But
Yeah.
nobody was downstairs. Finish the demon off.
Oh,
Some shit. So make sure someone's downstairs to finish the demon off, boys. Because you can literally kill it, and everyone's up here, and we're all rejoicing. Oh my god, we one shot, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah, and there's no more portals.
no more portals go out. And we all were like, okay, well, we wiped.
Because you
So
see
make
at the
sure
end, he banishes himself when he's at 0, and so the mechanic stops. So if the demon's not dead, it's over.
yeah.
Pretty
All right.
hilarious. We did it like 4 times.
All right, Kalecgos, easy. It's like, I would say not necessarily like easy, but like it's the easy entrance into the raid. The first boss is always kind of like the way in, right? But then we go straight to Brutallus.
Yeah. With a note that there's not up to the first boss. Sorry to interrupt you. Up to the first boss, there's actually like a decent amount of trash. Nothing like big AoE size, but just some cleavable shit. And then there's like no trash pretty much. You got a couple trash packs, literally like 2 in between this boss and Brutallus, and then you have a gauntlet with a scattered trash, and you're pretty much trash free the whole time. It's really crazy to see like not a lot of trash. I mean, I'm kind of cool with it, especially after Mount Hydral. Like we're cool. We don't need trash. But there is like not that much trash in between bosses at all.
Yeah. And a lot of that initial trash, like you mentioned earlier, is skippable. So we'll see, potentially, we'll see what we can do there to make the raid a little bit more short. The Brutallus fight. Break down. All right, Crix, you want to do this one?
Yeah, Brutallus is crazy because like in theory it's like a really like it's you would think it's easy when you go over. If you go over the mechanics, you're like, okay, he has a burn and he has a stomp and he has a meteor slash. Oh, cool, that's cool. Just spread out. Let's get in a conal. But then it never works out that way, and it's actually like one of the harder bosses in here. I would say this is up there with one. We'll do the tier listing afterwards, but this is up there because this dude slaps your tanks. And I don't know what I'm from the healing side. That's what Jordy can chime in on. All I know is from the DPS side of things, it's one of those fights where you're either standing still and you can from start to finish stand there and not move the whole time and just blast the whole time, or you can get the worst RNG ever and you get burned, which is this debuff that does more damage over time, right? And you have to go run to a certain spot to sit there and make sure you're in range to get healed, and you're not spreading this burn, which is a shockingly small range to spread it. It's like 2 yards, 2 or 3 yards.
Yeah.
But I guess you wouldn't be surprised because it's a classic community, how often this actually gets passed by people. But other than that, if you don't get a burn, you're kind of like, you are standing. It could be straight patchwork, and this is a long fight. Or you can get burned and move, but then move back to your spot.
Yeah. This is
before you chime in on the stomp stuff, because he's the healer. He knows more about that than I do. That's what's wiping him. That's what it is right there. That's the bad part about it. It's the meteor slashes with the burn, then a stomp taking out your tank or something like that. That's crazy, you know?
Yeah.
The stomp feels really bad to wipe on because sometimes it feels like there's no recourse. You just RNG sucks and tank dies. I think with gear, this fight will be a lot easier because your tanks will be beefier, your heals will be stronger. But for prog, there's going to be there's nothing I could do. We're just like, okay, well, I guess we go again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The tanks just get giga fucked sometimes, and that's all it is. The burn will take you some time to learn how to move out and not eat meteor slashes while you're doing it, and your healers to learn that the last 10-20 seconds the damage ramps up a lot and you really need to heal like crazy. And then the tanks will need some time to learn how the tank swap works, because it's not always the same. Sometimes you'll get stomped at 2 meteor slashes and you'll have to eat the whole thing, and you're screaming and just like clenching your butthole hoping that you make it through. And then other times it's like stop, taunt off, done. So yeah, the burn is cloakable, it's bubbleable, it's blockable. If you have nether protection proc during it, does it fall off?
Whoa.
It just makes you immune
to the damage incoming. It's still on you, yeah.
But but it doesn't fall off.
You can like resist it though. Like you can get it on the first tick and not get it or something. No, it has a meteor slash. I don't know how it works. I think it's a meteor slash you can resist with nether.
Yeah.
I haven't got it enough. I get it every single time, so I didn't get it.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
You can definitely resist the meteor slash and the burn, but I don't know if like nether protection procs mid burn, does it purge the burn?
No, it doesn't purge it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
it's
it doesn't
immune
purge it.
you
It
to
just
the
makes
next
you immune.
That would have been dope.
Whatever. Yeah.
That would have been really cool.
Nether protection becomes extremely broken for warlocks all over the world.
Sure, yeah. There are times on Brutallus where you're like, okay, the first 5 people who got burned were either paladins, mages, or rogues, and everybody bubble it off, and there's just no burns for the first 50% of the fight, and you're just like, this is amazing. All you have to do is sit there and heal the tanks. Yeah. It's a fun fight.
Resto Druids, this is why we said Resto Druids are really good, just for that burn ability right there. They shine.
Sure, yeah. And they can keep hots on the tank the whole time too, usually, and so they're really valuable in this fight.
Yeah, and I do, just for anyone just listening and not watching, I'm just gonna read out the stomp effect really fast. The stomp that they're mentioning that affects the tanks, it is just a physical damage debuff to the tank, and it reduces their armor by 50% for 10 seconds. It will remove the burn on the tank because tanks can get burned, and it's only gonna happen to the tank that's tanking the boss, and the tank is the boss is tauntable, and the meteor slash is this like frontal stacking debuff that increases the fire damage taken by 75% for 40 seconds. So with that being said, what is your go-to strategy, at least so far? I mean, you guys have done this fight multiple times, so what would be your guys' current go-to strategy for dealing with this boss encounter? I'll let Jordy go because you've done this probably more with the guild.
I think that this is one of those fights where there's just not too many different ways to do it. You just stand there, keep the tanks up. If you can see where Star is, that's Baron. He's tanking in front of everybody who is soaking the meteor burn behind him, or meteor slash behind him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like 7 or 8 people, and then where I am to the left is Cassie, and she's tanking, and we're all soaking. And as you see, I got burned, so I ran to the left by the melee. I think I probably should have gone right. I fucked this up, but the melee are spread out, so if they get a burn, they're not going to spread it. And then when you get burned, you just need to make sure you're not eating a meteor slash. And the meteor slash is a cone in front of him, so there's 2 areas where the cone. See, that guy just ran over that warrior and fucked him
just spread
completely.
the burn.
Granted, I don't know if there was anywhere he could have gone, but and we're all still learning, right? Like, you don't necessarily know the distance that the burn will spread, and sometimes it feels bigger than other times. But yeah, once you get the burn, you got to move out, make sure you're not eating a meteor slash, because the meteor slash increases the fire damage you take, and you just can't heal through burn if you have any of those stacks on you. So
Yeah.
And yeah, so Cassie's side just took 3 meteor slashes, so you see they were all pretty low. Baron taunted, so now his side will eat 3 meteor slashes, while Cassie's side is waiting for that debuff to tick off so they can go back to soaking again, and it swaps back and forth. So Baron just died, so now the raid will wipe.
Like, if you see, if you rewind it a couple hits, you can see him a burn go right by him. Look how close they are, and it doesn't spread. It's like a very
it's
close
2
range
yards.
to spread.
Yeah, it's
like
very
2 yards,
very
2
close.
yards. You'll see him when someone get it right behind him right now.
Yeah, and run right through.
Yeah, see that? Look how close he goes through, and nobody doesn't spread it, right? So it's really, really, really close. 5 yards to be safe is what we're calling it, but it's like literally 2 yards.
Scroll back just like 5 seconds to where Baron dies. You can see he eats. Yeah, right there. Watch his health. You'll see that debuff on the bottom left, the stomp debuff,
Mhm.
and you see how fast he just gets trucked.
Stomp, dead.
Stomp, dead. So he wasn't topped up, and the heals weren't rolling on him, and it's that quick. You have to be spamming max ranks during those stomp windows, and even then, like, you know, it's a rough fight.
Yeah. Do you think there's a way to deal with not being able, like, to mitigate the chances of your tank just getting clapped out of nowhere?
He mentioned it earlier, but this could be one of those niche prot warrior situations.
Mm-hmm.
You're really struggling, or if you got a prot warrior ready to go and you're already gonna do it.
Yeah. And then your tanks are probably wearing extremely heavy mitigation gear.
It's full beef. He's tauntable, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have ideally 2 Mr. X on the pole, so you should be way ahead. And you have infinite rage, so there's no threat issues.
Yeah.
I think said Warlock's there is threat issues, so be careful. And I like to put corruptions, maybe emulate corruption to start.
Yeah, right on the
cooldowns right away.
pump,
Don't
yeah.
lust right away as well. You don't lust your Warlocks right away. And like pop your cooldowns kind of early, and then that's up to your guys' rate, obviously. But
Muddle asked how melee positioning works in this fight. No, they're not soaking burn. They're just sitting behind the boss, because you don't want to be in front of the boss if you're melee, because he'll parry you. There's no parry haste on this fight, so you don't have to worry about it so much, but you don't want to get parried, right? That's a huge DPS loss. So they're sitting behind the boss, if you can see, like, to his
kind
left
of on
shoulder.
the left there, yeah.
Now you can see them now, yeah. And then if a bunch of people get burned on one side and the damage starts to really go up, sometimes we'll call for melee to move in so they can soak the burn a little bit better. But generally, it's just a fucking rotation simulator on this fight. So
yeah, this is the patchwork for melee. And this is the fight that back in the day people had like issues reaching the DPS check, but even with 7 healers, I don't think you really get too close to the.
I mean,
how close did you
range
guys?
A couple times.
Yeah,
there's some. You people would definitely have in range issues here. It's only 6 minutes.
I think the fastest we've done it is like just over 5 minutes, and we have killed him as long as like 6:30, like 30 seconds into the enrage. If you hit the enrage, he's gonna one-shot you with the meteor slash. So the whole raid should just fan out in crazy directions and dot the shit out of him and just start pumping, because he's gonna one-shot you with a melee, and then if he meteor slashes, everyone in the cone will just get one shot. So
those things where we were trolling about those gnome trinket, the little gnome trinket with 3 gnomes in it. Well, any kind of extra damage is just the fight that you want to do anything that has extra damage. Throw it on the boss.
This was a clean ass kill, right?
Yeah.
There were no deaths. I think this was probably our cleanest kill. I don't know how long this was, but this was a really good kill.
Yeah, that was right over. There's like a minute left on
makes sense.
Enrage. Yeah, right over 5. So there you have it. Brutallus. This is going to be kind of a stopgap, I think, for a lot of guilds, or at least the first one that people struggle on. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, guilds are fucked right here, bud.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a fun one. I just can't wait till like that day drops, and then at the end of the day, I end stream and I go watch all these other people's runs, and I'm just.
You know, it's gonna be me, dude. It's gonna be me.
Yeah, we should have we should have an episode where we literally just go watch all the other people's runs the next day, just like to see how they did on them.
We haven't done.
I'm really excited to watch.
I've died hundreds of times on those fights, so I've died a million times too. That's why I just know that people are gonna die. It's gonna be funny, dude. All the people, all conflag deaths, all the deaths that are gonna happen, dude. The MCs that are about to happen on Felmyst, bro. Kidding me?
Yeah. With that being said, moving on to Felmyst, third boss in the raid.
Circle of Healing God X over here. This is the best. I remember this being one of the best holy priest things in the world, fights in the world.
Yeah, he's not lying.
Yeah. Let me start the fight over. Swipe. Yeah, so Felmyst, break it down for us, guys.
Crix, go ahead.
This
Two
is
phase
Crix.
encounter. One's on the ground and one's in the air. This little one right here, if you pause it, we're standing right there because we have to be grouped up in a certain way. So their master spell gets these. What is the master spell stuff called? That poison on the down.
Gas
what they're called.
nova.
The gas nova. Thank you. So we're spread out like this because there's something called encapsulate, where one person in the group will get lifted up in the air, and then everybody else in your group either unless they're bopping them or whatever, you move out of the range of that, and then you're also grouped up clump so we can get master spells out. Not we, but the priest can get master spells for the novas. This is a very, 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 very big priest fight.
This is the fight where Jordy's gonna pump.
So he puts that. Yeah, here's
Yeah, you
can
can see that. Yeah.
spell. He puts that. They see that little green icon in the bottom left corner of each frame. That I think that does like 900 damage every second to everybody in the raid.
Yeah.
When you're within a certain range. So Palm just bounces like crazy, right? It's like every second, bing, 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 bing. It's great. And then Circle of Healing, everyone's taking consistent raid damage. It's great. And then there's Encapsulate, which is probably the mechanic that will kill people more than anything. He'll target someone right here. See, he throws him up in the air, that paladin.
Yeah.
Who should have bubbled. I think you can bubble it. And everybody within a certain range will just get fucked by a bunch of damage, right? Yeah. And so the reason that we're spread out in this configuration is so that the fewest amount of people per group is within range of that encapsulate. And then I'm also able to mass dispel that gas nova across
both groups,
right? Triangle and the melee.
Yeah.
Which is great. So
it's big.
And you have the Shadow Priest doing the other master spell.
Yeah, this entire first phase is all about positioning. Like that's all it is really, is positioning in your master spell. Like moving out of encapsulate, don't get hit by it. You use arcane res here too, helps, but I don't think you need it.
Yeah, arcane res could be helpful. Arcane protection potions, if you see someone by you, eat that. I think it is possible with some good play to heal through the encapsulate, but it's gonna suck.
Rocket boots. He's asked about rocket boots because this phase the dragon spits that green beam out, which will chase one person, to which you just have that one person, whatever route you want, north, south, east, west, as long as it's the same route. And then it spawns these ads, which get picked up by the tank. Don't hold off your AoE until you know the tank has a threat. You'll see him running through some consecrations, and if you get ads spawned on you, just run it to the consecration, obviously, and they blast them down.
Yeah.
This is where good mage shininess can help a lot.
This phase is pretty easy. I remember struggling 15 years ago in this fight, but just run north to south or in a circle or something if you have that. Make sure you're not standing on the green shit, and then don't threat too hard on these dragons until the pally has it. And then you need your raid leader or someone who knows what's going on to watch Felmyst and make sure you know which direction he's pointing, so that when this fog of corruption lands, you are all standing in the right direction. Like if you turn the audio on, you'll hear Baron screaming about it.
Yeah.
And
rebuff death. Pay attention for a movement call.
Move back 1 sec.
Pretty much he has 3 directions where he can blow.
Jay, you're standing in
shit. Right there, south, like
right,
bottom, top, and middle. And you have a raid leader, which I would suggest not. I would suggest you looking yourself as well, though. But yeah, look up and you see the dragon hella point one direction, and then he'll point back at you, and then that means he's gonna go to that direction and do it. And then your raider's like, oh, south, everybody run north because he's gonna blow south, or everybody run south. You know, you go vice versa. But I would suggest you know it yourself and look, because I followed one and I was wrong because I listened to what they said and I died from it. So you should still look up yourself and see it.
Ready
It's one of those
for
raids
movement calls?
where, unless you're just one of those people who just wants to shut your brain off, this is not a shut your brain off raid. Like this is
Not
one of
at
those
all.
things that just you actually look at stuff yourself and don't rely on everybody else for you.
Yeah, this is definitely a very reactive
North,
raid,
up towards
I
the
think.
tree. Up
happens
towards the blue
fast,
square.
dude.
Come
Stop
up
staying.
And what happens, by the way, if
Yeah,
you get into that, if you get whether you get that gas blown on you or you walk into it or touch it, it mind controls you, and then you have to die. You can't get out of that mind control. You're dead.
Yeah, and Baron just said everyone move up north towards the tree. So like having that raid leader call out, and it be really clear and quick, I think it's gonna be huge. Oh my god, the rogue almost got hit.
Correct.
He sprinted and barely made it.
Yeah.
I played a couple times that night for that. Because it's like they're like, yo, why are you're a hunter, bro? Why are you always behind? You have like what? Like, make sure you're not in that because you will get mind controlled instantly and you're dead.
Yeah, and I mean, just even watching this, it's something that some guilds have a tendency to have issues with following clear, concise raid lead comms. I think you guys are great at it, and I mean, I did one raid with you guys, and it was really, really clear, just everything Baron wanted. Everything was called out really fast. But I think that's something that also a lot of guilds might end up struggling with. So if you're in any of those guilds, try to like make sure that calls are done well here, because if people are in the wrong position, like you were saying, they're just gonna die to that. Basically, they're just gonna get MC, and you're gonna have to kill them. It's gonna be a waste.
I don't think it's going to be too hard of a fight, though. I think it's going to be one of those things where I think people are going to, if you're like, without practice, going to fuck this up a few times. Obviously, Jordy and I both will have very in-depth guides for all these bosses, and we're going to collab on something. We're just not sure what it is going to be yet. But right here is a perfect encapsulation right there. You see that?
Yeah.
That's the goes to him. You move out of it, or you
Perfect.
get bubbled. Yeah, it wasn't the best showcase of one, but that's what it looks like, right? It goes in the air, and then everybody moves out of it. You don't need rocket boots for it. I used to use rocket boots on private servers for the skeletons, but there's just I don't see a reason to. Like, you're faster than the beam and everything, right? You got bore speed on, I hope.
So for that, it's just everyone should run out faster.
Yeah, pretty much. Or
Yeah.
if you're, well, it depends. Did you guys pre-pop arcane potions and you're kind of just gonna eat it, right? But yeah, that's what happens. There it is.
Yeah.
Bubbles.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
don't know- I
sure
don't know if
we've
cloaking
solved.
stuff works.
I'm not sure we've solved this yet. There are some ways to make it easier, but I don't know if I can recommend anything yet that we've done that I think is a solution. Just hope you can keep everybody up and that they're quick. I mean, rocket boots to run out could work.
Looks like the damage is pretty far. This shaman. Yeah, I'm gonna scroll back, and you guys are gonna
You have
be a
time.
second.
You have time to get. I don't think you need rocket boots. Wasn't used for this. It was used for the second phase when you're getting chased by the beam.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
I
even
would
use.
say
I
that-
wouldn't use rocket boots for that. I would
Yeah,
use
no.
this.
Yeah, this is one of those things where I can tell you get it, and I have time to. You have time to react to this. You need to get out of there. That's the thing. You need to stop your cast. You stop cast. You're literally moving like as soon as you do that.
And
you're
don't
popping something
jump,
if you need it.
because
Yeah, don't
that'll
jump.
leave you back where you left the ground. That can kill you.
Really? What?
Yeah, jumping, when you jump away from things, your character model's still at the position where your
Oh,
character
right,
left.
right. Yeah,
you
yeah,
jumped
okay.
at, and that's where, like right here, there's a death. Like,
I'm the king of jumping. I don't know why. I gotta fucking literally unbind my space.
I
bar or
know,
something,
dude.
'cause I
It's like
jump
the
all
first
time,
thing you
dude. It's
think of is
crazy.
to like jump out of AoE, but that actually could be the death of you. It's like natural. You feel like get away from this, but
Yeah, I
but
don't
it
think
could
that
easily be the
too
death
many
of you.
guilds will have troubles with this. I think they're going to struggle getting this positioning down in phase 1. I don't think phase 2 right here is going to be hard at all for anybody, as long as the AoE classes mind your AoE, obviously. And
Yeah.
Pay attention to the raid leader or pay attention to the breath. I think you'll just wipe a couple times to the positioning and the trying to find that massive spell sweet spot. You know what I mean?
yeah.
If you copy our
And so we got impact.
positioning and your priests get the master spell, this will take you 2-3 attempts to get. It's a long ass fight. You can burn like almost all of your mana during the ground phase because you have a billion years to regen during the skeleton phase when he's flying around.
Yeah.
It's I think it's the easiest fight in here, and it drops the best loot in here.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's really and
Felmyst
it's nice
is
because
the
it comes right after
juice.
Brutallus, which is fucking rough, and then it goes right before
This is,
Twins, where your whole roller is going to be rocked. So
I think this is the Lin fight, right? I can't remember. Or is it Brutallus? I can't remember.
Yeah.
oh, yeah, don't stand in the green poison on the ground either. That's a skeleton's leave.
Yeah.
I
All right.
think it'd be what
All
they're
right.
saying, but you never know.
On from Felmyst, onto the fight that I obviously one shot in my first time attempting the encounter. So shout out to Sarthe for coming in and carrying fusion on that one. But Eridar twins, let's break it down. This one's on you, Jordy. Jordy, Eridar twins.
This is a fight, man. This is a fight. This is the first like, fuck, this is harder than anything we've done fight. An insane amount of raid damage on this fight. And it requires really precise movement, because if you get conflagration, you have to run out, and there are often complicating factors about where you can run and stuff depending on if you're melee or ranged. For a lot of classes, it's just stand there and pump like normal unless you get the conflagration. And it's also a fun fight because it's front loaded, so the first 90 seconds to 2 minutes is just balls to the wall and try to kill the first one as fast as you can. And once you've killed the first one, the fight's almost over so long as you have nearly everybody alive.
Yeah.
Which is fun because you can kind of like breathe and relax a little bit. It is a fight where early on you're going to want all of your harrows, so waiting between pulls can take time, which kind of sucks. And this is a fight where you'll realize, wow, our raiders really suck because they're going to eat conflagrations when they have weak ores that tell them how to not. I'm not sure. This is the one that you came in on. Yeah, there you are. So I wasn't here for that.
No, you were here for this skill, and then you left right after, and then came back from Uru, weren't you?
Maybe
I think so.
Let's see. So yeah, the ranged want to stack up here. I think this is also a fight where the strategy will evolve over time, but this is the strategy that we're going with right now. The range stack up here, the melee jump down. We have a warlock tanking the fire twin, but you can have a prop pally do it just fine, which we probably will eventually, but we're using a warlock for now. And so yeah, here comes the pull. The misdirect happens, they run down, the warlock's tanking grand warlock, whatever, and if you wait about 15 seconds, you'll watch the healing really start to ramp up. There's a lot of mechanics in this fight, but not a lot that matter because you're just kind of healing and pumping. There's a Shadow Nova. The way that it works is there's a fire debuff and a shadow debuff, and when you take the corresponding damage type, it will reset the other one. You know what I mean? So right now the whole ranged has a fire debuff. We just get Shadow Nova, so it resets all of our fire. So now we have a shadow. So until we take another fire one, we'll have a shadow one, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You'll see the conflagration go out in a second. It's on Idiot Circle. He runs out of the raid. You can kind of see the little explosion down below.
Yeah,
so
it's right below.
He manages to get out.
There's one early on, I think it was on Cassie. We'll see in a sec. It might be on Baron.
Yeah,
it's on Baron.
She's down below, so it's harder to see. Oh, there she is.
Yeah.
So she eats it. She's tanking too, so it's a little bit scary. She eats it. She does a great job of getting out of the raid, and then she runs back in. So if you eat that in the raid, everyone around you will die.
You will wipe the raid, absolutely.
Yes, and so you really need to. Yeah, none of this is resistible, by the way.
You don't wear any res at all because you have to drop stacks by. Well, it's all irresistible anyway. So even if you were resist, you wouldn't resist it, but you also need to be able to drop the stacks by getting the opposite magic.
Yeah,
you're irresistible. Go on.
You're stacking spell. You're stacking health. You need it's like 16, 17k all PvP gear.
So yeah, I mean, I think the first one, I can't see where it's also. I'm sorry. I'm just like I'm tunnel visioned on my frames because this is an insane healing fight where I'm just like trying to keep people alive.
I know you could see if I hide myself right here. If anyone's watching this, if I hide myself 1 second, you are so focused.
All you're doing is trying to figure out the best value for each circle for each group, right? It's like,
Yeah.
that was a bad one, that was a good one, that was a bad one. So I'm just like, I'm not making the best choices always, but
We need to
shout out to the priest.
Someone
Discord
needs
for
to clip
the
this.
COH.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really fun. We often will use heroisms in the healer groups when the damage starts to really ramp up. That helps a lot with HPS, and it's a fun fight, man. It's a fun
Don't
fight.
fucking touch the other ad. Leave the other ad alone because she just heals up anyway. That's something that was an issue too. Melee wants to cleave it, or warlocks are trying to do whatever to it. Affliction locks put a corruption up to farm nightfalls. Other than that, just leave it alone.
I mean, realistically, parsers are absolutely they're gonna cleave it.
Doesn't matter though.
Yeah, it doesn't help the raid at all, but we all know. And then we all jump down as we move into phase 2, or just when there's one ad. And
Yeah, this is really easy. As I die, I think this is the kill.
Kind of
Yeah,
like
it
when you
is.
get to this
Yeah.
phase, it's one of those fights where if you get here, you win. Kind of like you still wipe, obviously, but if you got enough healers up, you should be able to get through this one.
Newman 4410
Newman
going into
pumping?
cancel. That's pretty good, yeah.
oh my god.
44-10, jeez.
Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about the benefits or net drawbacks of cleaving. I just don't pad, I guess. And you can see the warlock's just kind of moving around. He's dropping the fire around, and then when the Shadow Nova gets targeted on somebody, the warlock will move in and eat that Shadow Nova so that it resets the warlock's flame stacks. And then the warlock will move back out and keep tanking. And that's kind of all is that she stops doing conflagration. She stops doing most of her mechanics. You just stack and pump. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good fight. This is another one of those fights where you're going to spend a lot of time wiping very quickly and then waiting. People are going to accidentally jump off the ledge and you're going to want to murder them. There's going to be a lot of that. There's going to be a lot of trash respawning on top of you. It's a fun, tough fight.
What do you I guess we'll all ask that question later, is like thinking of which fights took the longest to get used to. But as you get more used to this fight, do you think it becomes a lot easier to deal with? Kind of like the Kil'jaeden fight, where if everyone knows their role, it's not as much of a hard fight as it is everyone just executing their role. So do you think this is one of those fights that can be complex even if everyone knows what they're doing?
No, it's just don't blow the raid up. You know what I mean?
There you go. Yeah.
This is one of those fights where you're gonna wipe it to it on speedrun sometimes, because like you'll get Shadow Nova'd, which will stun you, and then she'll target you with a conflagration, and you'll be like, "Fuck, I can't move," and you'll wipe the raid. That can happen. Happen a couple times. There's a lot of really shitty RNG occasionally. I think this will be the fight that's the least that feels the least safe long term. Yeah, but it's not too hard. It's definitely it's in the top 3 for sure, but it's not too hard.
Yeah.
I think one of those fights where 3 months down the road you'll still wipe to it if someone fucks it up, you know.
Yeah.
Day before the Sheen comes out and still wiping to conflags.
This is going to be one of the ones that I think is like the fight where if you're in that pug situation, that GDKP is about to be, whenever that eventually starts. I mean, it probably won't even, it's going to be hard to see GDKPs full clear this. It's going to be like a lot more of them once the nerfs come out, but one that can just be so frustrating having a carry or something, you know, or a buyer. All right, on to Maru. The second to last fight. This is the fight where we see people wiping 79 times and fighting just this boss for 12 hours straight, batting their head against the wall to kill it. Crix, you want to hit us with the strategy? And
Seed of Corruption. Just spam it. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Kind of, though.
Kind of, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Well, technically you're not. Technically there's seeding, but it's more like you get this. You're seeding last priority, if that makes sense. Like your priority is to nuke this, nuke Murus until Sentinel comes out, then nuke the Sentinel, enslave one of those things, send it on Muru, and go back and forth while keeping it up while you're pumping and like not really conceding much outside of the Voidwalker things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but two-phase fight, Murus first, and then you fight Entropius. The Sentinels come out, have a tank pick it up, and then you nuke down the Sentinels, the little Voidwalkers that come out of them, which we enslave, which some people were saying is not worth it because you can just seed them down really quick. But I think it is worth it because you can have them do a ton of damage to the boss, which is why I think it's worth it, right? Versus not doing it.
Yeah.
Last for phase 1. I don't know all technicals. Jordy knows all the technicals, bro. He's a healer. We're just spamming seeds. Yeah, the macro. Well, I covered it earlier. I don't want to go too deep into just Warlock related stuff since I'll have actual stuff up on it.
Yeah. So, Jordy, as for heals, first phase of Maru, you're just gonna Giga Pump the blast into the boss, bring him down as low as you can. You mentioned to me that like we wanted to aim for sub 50%. I don't think we ever did that in the run we were in. We got like 55 maybe. And then you start like the real mechanics where you've got, I'm just giving my quick, so just correct me if I miss anything. These ads, these humanoid ads that come from the exit and the entrance to the room, you have hunter traps slowing them so tanks can pick them up before they run and blast a healer for healer aggro. And then you can see these little void spawns, these like kind of purple doorways open, and a giant sentinel comes out, and you need to blast that down really quickly because they're on a timer and they're coming really quickly. So all of your range is turning and killing that. And then Maru will do an ability called Darkness. I believe it's Darkness, where he just makes all of the ground around him murder any melee in there. So all the melee are going to move out and finish off all of the humanoids while the range are killing the sentinels.
Hey, pets. Big on pets. It kills your pets.
Murders your pets.
Otherwise, you're stuck enslaving a fucking void. The first time, a couple times I did this, I enslaved a void sentinel every time. And I was like, dude, I'm doing something wrong. There's nothing here. Then I was like, oh, let me just manage him a little bit more.
Yeah,
so if it is. Cost, you're going to have a lot of fun here. These humanoids, kind of like, as much as you want to zug them, you're kind of ignoring them as a warlock because the melee can get them right. Right now, for instance, melee can't be on Muru because of the darkness, but they can be on the ads. So we're pumping into Muru, right? Until Void Sentinels come out, which is going to be to the right. That portal opens up. Now I'm already moving over there to go get ready to smack into that Void Sentinel.
Yeah.
I'm elementing, and then I'm pumping into that Sentinel until the ads come out. I'm going to pretend I don't have one Voidwalker. When that ad comes out, there's a macro, which is in chat right now, where if a Warlock is targeting them, it'll put a marker, whatever the number 1 through 6 is, on that, and then it'll enslave it for them. And then that Warlock then just goes back and forth because of the Shadow Bolt Volley. Slight melee damage, but it's whatever. Buff it as well if you can. And then that's all you do. And then bump until this phase is over. And you keep going back and forth. Get a new pet when you don't need a new pet. Don't seed these. You should be on Murder the whole time. Your damage on enemy damage taken is like Void Sentinels, Warlock's number 1. Warlocks and mages up there, right? And then Muru. And then you're pumping. You don't have these padding. This is padding, in my opinion, on anybody who's just seeding these humanoids.
Yeah. One thing that Jordy Newman close to sub 50. What's their time? Holy crap.
Are you sure the timer's right, Vin? Someone said that it was like 3 minutes.
Pull it up on the other screen.
Also, just for warlocks, I would use this one. I like this macro too for your warlocks. You just put pet. It's a mouse over for pet attack, so you don't have to target everything. You don't want to don't link it with like Shadow Bolt and shit because you're not Shadow. You don't want your pet moving every time you Shadow Bolt a different target because there's times when you're not Shadow Bolting a target that you want your mob on, right?
Yeah.
So you're moving. You're like in this example. I'm moving my Voidwalker out of the dark zone beforehand.
Yeah, always moving your pet in and out on the boss, but not onto the sentinels because the sentinels will murder your pet. You can see in the background my pet is just a little dead guy here because this is one of the earlier pulls I think, and I just wasn't used to it yet. This might have been the first pull because we almost downed the first phase in the first pull. And one thing that Jordy had mentioned before when we were doing this is one of the biggest things here is just having your healers spec into threat reduction so that they get picked up, ads get picked up, and don't go and run over and murder a healer real fast.
Yeah, a lot of the time you can't really see it from this POV, but right like to the bottom right of the screen there's the doorway to the room, and there's a invisible, or not a visible wall, but a wall there now once the pull happens. Kind of like on the far side, you see that little glowing thing.
Yeah.
That the ads will spawn on the other side of that and run through it. But while they're spawning, you're still building threat, right?
Yeah.
And so it's hard for the tanks to grab it because the doorway is pretty close to where you're standing. And throttling your heals during that window where the ads are coming in but aren't picked up yet a little bit, and speccing into threat reduction is probably a good way to go your first couple weeks at least until your tanks are comfortable with it. Everyone has a job here, and it's gonna take a long time for everyone to learn their job and like what the priorities are. And it's just like a delicate dance of it's an ad fight. Baron screamed about it the other day, but he's like, it's an ad fight, and if the ads are dead, you can DPS Muru. And people often prioritize Muru a little too much, but there is a balance that you really need to.
Yeah, staying on top of the ads over.
Yeah.
And in the background, Newman might be getting world record right now. Oh, I forgot how long this phase is. Newman's really close to world record right now for Black Temple.
What, they have 50?
They're at 50-50, so that puts them 54. No, they won't. They don't get it. Yeah, they don't get it. Yeah, that's really close, but this RP is just too long.
Also, the death RP is like 10-15 seconds. Too,
yeah,
so.
That's close. All right, that is a really good run. That is a really good run.
Lost it yet?
Yeah, but they'll end up with like maybe a 55-minute. We'll see.
So here's phase 2.
Yeah, back onto Entropius.
Dies, this dude Entropius spawns. And you have to clean up whatever ads are left in the room, and then Entropius does this thing where he'll shadow chain lightning somebody, and every time he casts it, he hits one more person with it. And so it's kind of a soft enrage mechanic where eventually the raid will wipe because too many people are taking damage.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also does a couple other things. He does Black Hole, which is this spinning shadow orb thing that bounces people around if you get into it. And he does the similar thing with Darkness where
I got smacked by that. I might have.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
I got
annoying.
smacked by the first one, and I was like, I'm gonna start running away from this.
Yeah, I don't know if it does damage, but maybe it probably does. But it hits you with some annoying stuff. It definitely lowers your damage. The tanks try to avoid it by dragging him around the room.
Yeah.
And then he does these little like shadow circles on the ground, and then a skull will spawn. You have to dispel that skull in order to kill it. 52:10. I don't think that's right, Lucky. I think it's 3 minutes behind.
No, they're 3 minutes behind, so 55-20 then.
20 maybe.
Still really solid.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is me with my sad pet that has gotten murdered already multiple times.
Yeah, I'm nervous about pets, man.
It's gonna be fun once you get used to it. But yeah, so you can see this thing spawning right next to me, and I run right to it because I didn't know yet.
Yeah, see that skull right there? That got dispelled, which is good. But then the black hole, you're stuck in. Everyone is getting scooped up on it.
Yeah,
so.
and on this encounter, during this phase, there's those little void zones that spawn below you, and they're actually pretty hard to see. It's a pretty dark room, so you have to make sure you stay away from. After I got hit by that first one, I was like, I'm running away from this bad boy.
Yeah. Yeah, those void zones can wipe the raid. That first wipe was because of that void zone, because someone got hit by the skull that it spawns. So
yeah,
just watch your feet and pump the boss. Look out for black holes, and you're good.
Yeah. Once you get towards this phase, it's a lot easier, I think, right?
Yeah, but this is the phase where you need a healthy raid and all of your lusts up, and you should be able to down it.
Yeah.
This looks like a.
No, this is the kill. Yeah.
We killed it. Okay.
Yeah, it's a close one, but we kill it.
We've killed this with everybody alive, which felt really good, and we've also done it with like 2 people alive. So
yeah,
it's
This is. I mean, you have pugs in here, including me, right? Who's like hadn't seen that phase yet. Then
yeah, see that skull's about to wipe the raid. It's gonna hit somebody. Oh,
that just got spelled. Yeah. Let's see. All right, and then the big bad, Kil'jaeden.
This is a fun fight.
This is a really fun fight, I think. This is just... I had a blast in this fight. This is a fight where absolutely pets are going to be like giga griefed again. Let me go back to Jordy's POV for this, for the first, while we talk about it. All right. Kil'jaeden. Let's see. Which one's the kill? That one's the kill. All right. Mechanics of this fight. Hit me. Hit me, boys.
Oh,
five
man.
phases. 5 phases. So first one starts with these 3 hands right here. First off, I'm working on this guide, so this is the one I'm not more fluent in as the other ones. But it starts off with these 3 adds right here, and you just tank them and kill them. They're nothing too crazy. And then there's 5 phases. That's the first phase. And the next phase is 100 down to 85%, and then down to 55%, and then down to 25%, and then death. And all I know is to nuke shield orbs and him the whole time. That's pretty much what I'm doing. Running in with Fireblood. Maybe Jordy can help him more at that, bro. But all I know as a Warlock is you're over there blasting Kil'jaeden. I have a macro that's I'm spamming while I'm spamming into Kil'jaeden that'll automatically target a shield orb, and I nuke the shield orbs. Yeah, you know about those. And then we have Fire Blossoms, and if you have it, you don't run in, or you do run in, and you wait till the shield takes it away. Yeah, there's a lot in this fight.
Yeah.
There you go. That's all I got.
One thing to mention that I'll mention before Jordy takes off. On this first phase, we had rotations of nades to silence these arcane bombs, and I think they were stunnable. Correct me if I'm wrong, that these first ads are stunnable. I doubt they're gonna be on like the logs, these ads. Originally when we were doing this fight, I personally was like popping CDs to blow these up, to have CDs up for a good phase on Kil'jaeden. I'll go over that as I do the fight more for like quote unquote parsing, or like when to like have CDs up at optimal times. But these first ads are pretty easy to kill, and I think we arcane bombed them, right?
Yes, they are silenceable until they hit like 20%, where they enrage and become unsilenceable. So you just got to burn like crazy. This first phase will take just a pull or two to get down. If you watch, we stack them. You have to move them away from the imp portals that spawn, because those will do a lot of random damage.
Oh yeah, there's imp portals that spawn that just do AoE. You see it. You'll see it right now.
Yeah, right there. So we have an arcane bomb rotation. We do some Hodge at the beginning. One's dead. The damage gets cut like a pretty good amount. The arcane bombs go out so that those shadow bolts aren't happening, because they'll spam them if they're able to. So that's phase 1. Pretty easy. Then Kil'jaeden comes out, and the fight begins really in earnest. There is a tank on this fight, because he does like a mind flay kind of thing, like I just ate right there, but it's not really hard. You don't have to worry about like Scorpion Sting or anything. It's all spell damage.
And then there's the Fire Bloom.
You
Okay, so
do not need a Warlock for that, by the way.
Warlock for tanking?
Tanking those made mind plays.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The bear does it in our
Some guys tell you to use Warlocks. I don't know why, but don't do that.
Yeah, I think the bear is fair. So if you see that little reddish debuff that goes up on some random people right now, that group 1 has a lot of them. That's kind of one of the main issues on this fight. I have it on me right now.
Yeah.
It's called Fire Bloom, and every 1 second it ticks and does damage to everyone within 10 yards of you. So that's why we're spread out like this. So that we're not nuking the raid with a ton of fire damage.
Yeah.
Every 2 seconds to yeah, there you go. So you have to be kind of careful about your positioning, so you're not eating those, and you don't want to be stacked normally, because God forbid one of you gets it randomly cast on them, that whole area will just get nuked. So you just keep spreading out. And yeah, and then there's the shield orbs that spawn. 1 spawns in the beginning, and then 2, and then 3 spawn over time. Those have to be nuked because they don't have a lot of health, and they'll just circle around him up top, and so the ranged will have to do damage there to get them down.
Yeah.
And the macro comes into play, like we were saying.
Definitely useful, because they can be interesting to target. You have to zoom out a lot to target them manually. and you can see in the top left corner there's just shooting out these shadow bolts towards everyone.
Yeah.
You need to
Also,
burn
you
those.
should be looking up or down. Like you pan down or pan up, so you can see them a lot better. But it's just you can literally press the macro /target shield. I just put /target shield and then drop a bar /cast shadow bolt or whatever, frostbolt, whatever your thing is.
Mhm.
And as long as your target, it'll automatically switch them, like one of those things where it targets before you can even see them type shit. So
Yeah.
be careful with that. But
And then at 85% is the first reflections.
Yes, and so he'll randomly pick somebody to spawn 4 copies of that person, and they will just spawn around that player, and the tank will have to run over and pick them up, and depending on what class they are, they'll do certain things. What we do is we drag them over to Kil'jaeden and have the Warlock seed off of Kil'jaeden and kills them pretty well. See, he's dragging them over. It's Hunter right now.
you gotta be careful because our Fury Warrior one time whirlwind, like literally the second that the reflections came out, and he didn't know it came out, and they killed him.
Yeah. It's one of those times, like right around 86%, you want to stop doing multi-shot and whirlwinds and stuff, because you can just kill yourself. Wow, Newman 55-16. That's great.
Yeah, that's a great time. Huge run from Newman. Jesus, that's amazing. Yeah, the reflections. So right at any of the thresholds, 85%, 55%, and 25%, your raid leader should call it out, but you should also know no more AoE abilities like whirlwinds, cleave if you were cleaving for some random reason, but multi-shot also can proc these, and you'll just have aggro and you'll just die. So just chill out.
Multi-shot's not so bad.
Just you're fine. Yeah.
But
it's literally just the minute chance that your one warrior gets the reflect on him and he happens to whirlwind at that exact same time. So it's almost like I wouldn't even worry about trying to dance around that. Just hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah, and also there's the shadow spike ability that he sends out. That's slow ability that hunts you. You can just see that Jordy
not slow enough. Dude.
Jordy dodges. I mean, you literally dodged one right now.
Yeah, that was like I'm really happy, but you picked up this one clip of me actually doing the mechanic correctly. Look at that, amazing.
Yeah, gamer.
He casts a shadow spike. He throws it at somebody, and it'll travel towards their location. So you got to move out of it. Keep your camera pointed up like me, so I can see when it's coming at me. And then after that's done, the dragon orbs will spawn. So at 4 areas around this room, there are these orbs that spawn. Canary, shut up. That spawn, and you will have somebody assigned, generally a tank who's not doing anything else, will touch the orb and turn into a blue dragon, right? And it has a blink move, it has 2 breaths, and it has a shield move. And they each are used in different ways. The blink, it's a blink, but you get over to the raid who will stack so you can breathe on them, which gives them a haste, and I think it's a mana regen buff, which is really helpful.
Yeah,
and it also prevents the fire dart from doing AoE damage and slowing you, which is really nice. So right here you see that he does the end of worlds or whatever it's called, and the whole raid stacks. The shield goes up because the dragon casts, and we survive it, and then everybody goes back into their position, and we continue that way until the next end of worlds, where we will restack and do it again. So the fire bloom's happening during this time. The shields are respawning during this time. There's a lot of different mechanics you have to manage.
If you have the fire bloom at this time, just wait until everyone's stacked, and right before the ability, you can hop into, or when the shield is up, you can hop into the shield, and you won't like murder people. You kind of have to stay out. Actually, Jordy gets it literally right now. This is perfect timing.
The shield reduces damage taken by 95% and damage done by 95%. And so right now I'm nuking a bunch of people and it's bad, but there we go. Now it's up and I can go in with the fire bloom and not hurt anybody.
Yeah.
So it's it's kind of like Mover. There's a dance happening. Everybody's moving in and moving out. It's buffs are being thrown around.
Very good. Not a good caster fight.
I would anticipate
it's a bad caster fight.
It's a really good melee fight. You're pumping. Like our first kill, the enhancement shaman was #1 DPS.
It sucks because warlocks do so much on this fight. Like they carry this fight really in all actuality. No copium, but you can't tell because we're handling all the orbs. We're handling these reflections.
I think
Yeah,
once you
Warlock
get used,
should-
We're fine with it though. We like when Blizzard reached out, we're like, yes, it's okay. Warlocks don't need to be top here because melee has been dicked on this whole expansion pretty much. So let's let them. Like, how often is an enhancement shaman going to be up there like that? You know, so we accept it. It's okay.
that's fair. I think once you get really used to this fight, because there's quite a bit of pet management also for Hunter. Once you get used to this fight, I think it is definitely one that hunters are gonna
You are gonna
absolutely
be top for sure.
absolutely
Yeah,
pump.
I
You
think
see
it's gonna
hands
be
up
like
is like way
Hunter.
ahead everyone. Yeah,
I feel like Rogue's pumping this fight too, especially if they could catch like a reflect in the middle or something like that. If you guys can get one of your reflects in the middle, what you do, they end up over there. But if you can get some good ones, you can get some good damage on there too. I think.
yeah. You just need to remember for hunters, it's a lot about like make sure you bring your pet in so it gets the breath here also, because this
Hands
breath buff
Pumper.
is just so nice. Yeah, Pumper is just Pumper. Hands is just
Hands is a
it's
pumper.
just going in. Quantum, thank you, man.
My pet died so many times on this fight last night,
Dude. It's so frustrating, but it's manageable. Other than when melee or like warriors have what's it called, fire. Oh, and then as you get towards the lower phase, you get these meteors here that you can see me just
there's
move
just
out
a
of.
lot going on. Everybody's still doing everything that they're supposed to do, but there's these meteors also, and you need to burn him to certain thresholds fast enough because you'll run out of dragon orbs with the shields at a certain point. So if you don't hit those thresholds where the dragon orbs will respawn, you will wipe because you'll be out of dragons to put the shield up, and he'll still be casting that end of worlds move like he is right now. So
Yeah,
you're adeptly dismissing pet, which is great, and then you're gonna pull pet out in a second.
I think I let it die on the way. I think I tried.
Okay.
I let it die
One of
briefly.
Those fights where you
We'll
can't
find out.
panic, right?
Yeah,
I'll
see,
panic on this
I'm-
fight too. It's one of those
I'm
fights
just like,
where
if I
panicked
bring
a
it
little
back,
bit with
it's
the
gonna
fire
die.
bloom one time, didn't make it into the shield. Like, just know that, like, listen, this is one of those fights that raids in general, but fights that like really your raid leader carries hard on this fight. Like the call outs carry super hard on this fight. Everybody's
Yeah.
paying attention. Cure comms, literally paying attention to everything everybody's saying.
Yeah, and this is, I think this is probably the third easiest. Like, I think this is third maybe second in terms of difficulty. But it'll be a fight that you don't have trouble with long term, because once everyone knows what they're doing and what not to do, it'll be fine.
Yeah, agreed. Once you're used
But it's a
to
long
it,
fight. It's like 8-9 minute fight.
very mana intensive. Judgment of Wisdom, please, paladins.
Yeah.
Oh my
Black
god.
bow is not a terrible idea if you're a hunter.
It actually wasn't too bad though, because of the dragon. The dragon brought
okay.
back. Yeah, I used black bow early until one of our later kills, because it probably took us like 8 tries or something, maybe like 6. But like I was using black bow early, but the dragon, when it breathes the fire on you and you get that haste buff, it also gives you a pretty juicy mana boost.
Sure.
Let me see if I can find it in here. That would be nice.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what they do, so I'd be interested.
Back then they had mages do it, but does it say the abilities?
We put
Okay, here we go.
The people who were doing the orbs were using rocket boots to get to the orbs.
get to them,
faster.
yeah.
That was pretty helpful.
So the breath, the revitalized one, 450 health and mana every 2 seconds to all players in the cone in front of the dragon for 10 seconds. So 2,250 health and mana to everyone. And the haste buff is the other big one, 25% haste for 30 seconds. And you have this up a lot of the time. This is insane.
Or if it'll be part of the logs, or they'll take it out.
Well, you have to get that buff, right? You always get that buff. So, like, and then you'll definitely see, like, we'll see if I can go back to Jordy's POV in a second. The dragons early on are also always kind of moving around while they're not doing the shield. He's always dropping the dragon while he still has it and popping that breath on people. So we'll see in a sec. Maybe the next dragon is brought out. Yeah, he's gonna be dropping the breath on people even when you're not all stacked in that shield. He can also blink around while doing it, and I think it is like channeled and can be channeled while the blink, because he gets it up on a lot of people. So one, knowing where the DPS or the people that are important to get this, if you're having healing issues, getting that haste buff on healers can be really huge. Like knowing where everyone's positioned. And just getting that buff up on everyone is just going to help you Giga Pump. Absolutely. So that's Kil'jaeden. And then he'll drop a bow, hopefully.
Well, one thing,
Tasty sauce.
if you hit phase 5, you kind of win because you have a lot of time to kill him and you have a lot of dragons to go through, right? And so you can just drop the shield pretty quickly. He doesn't do a ton of mechanics. He's just constantly doing the raid wipe mechanic. And so you're just putting the shield up, burning, breathing, running out, 10 seconds later, running back in, doing it again. And so if you can hit, I think it's 25%, yeah, you're in for a good kill. As long as everyone's still alive.
Yeah.
And don't watch out for the meteors because it can't happen where you put the shield up and a meteor is about to land on your head. You can survive a meteor if you're in the shield, but you need to make sure the shield is up and not about to fall off before the meteor lands. Because when the raid wipe mechanic happens, the shield goes down, like it kills the shield. So what can happen is you'll put the shield up, the meteor looks like it's about to land, he'll do the raid wipe mechanic, the shield will disappear, and then the meteor lands on the entire raid and kills you all. So you got to be careful.
Yeah, and in our kill, we also had the meteor right before the shield. It was like right on the tank spot where we were. So we waited. The raid leader Baron called for people to hold off on running in for a second, and then we ran in and did the shield. So that's something that, like, again, I think this is a really good raid for raid leader and raid callouts. Really, really facilitating clearing the raid itself. This is one more than a lot of other raids. Yeah.
I mean, raid leaders, officers in general, however you do it, just if you're the normal raid leader and you've had it you feel like you've been doing kind of good in Black Temple and you're worried about this, and this is one of those times where you have your select little few officers that you need to delegate some shit to. And if you're not one of those raid leaders that you like to do everything yourself, then that's fine. But if this is one of those times where you want some help, don't be afraid to reach out, because there's a lot of stuff that, Jordy handles healing. You have someone that can handle all the healing. You have a caster who can help you with all the caster call outs, Just give you those set of voices so your raid knows who to listen to, and it'll make everything a lot easier.
Yeah.
5%, man. Fuck, that's gonna be.
I know, dude. Just drop.
Is that as good as? I've heard people talk about this versus what's the other one? The other bow, was that one better?
This one is way better. This one is crazy. This one is I've heard like sim comparisons to this to getting both glaives. I don't think it's the exact same because of cleave and everything, but like single target, the DPS from getting this legendary bow is unreal. For hunters, it's actually
well, good luck, gentlemen.
I want the backspace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, the ammo,
ridiculous.
no ammo. I like ammo.
The backspace will be so. I'll just fill with what are you gonna do with it? Yeah, snowballs. 100% snowballs in this raid. 100%. I'll just fill with snowballs.
Yeah, too.
Yeah. But with us going over all the strats for every boss, let's rank them in difficulty. Everyone loves a tier list. All right. So going through the entire raid, let's see which bosses are the hardest, at least so far.
What do you think the hardest one is, Jordy?
Who do you think?
Like, who do we set the bar high with?
Yeah.
I would say probably
Bloodwill loves tier lists.
If I'm trying to look at it like objectively, not like what I think was hard, because I feel like Muru and Brutallus are probably the hardest, but like they're not. I mean, yeah, I'd probably say Muru. I'm gonna stick with Muru. I feel like it wasn't. These last ones have been smooth, but because we know what we're doing, so I'd say Muru, Twins, and Brutallus. Muru. I'd go Muru though, because I feel like Muru is harder than Twins and Brutallus.
Ooh, Jordy.
Come to an agreement.
I think there's an argument to be made about when the tier list is set. If it's week 1 versus week 10, there's going to be a difference because gear will carry you pretty far in a lot of these fights.
Yeah.
In some of the fights, it won't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Make it like a prog list.
Okay, progression tier list. First off, and then you can mention where you think people will end up, boss will end up. So first week, what's going to be our struggle?
I think for week 1, Muru I think is your hardest.
Boom. All right, Muru. After you, well, I mean not after, but following Muru, what's our next hardest boss? Do we have Twins or do we have Brutallus?
I think Brutallus is gonna be. I mean, Twins is gonna be harder, but I think more people are gonna be stuck on Brutallus right away. Like I think people are gonna be like shockingly stuck on Brutallus. I would say Twins though. Yeah, I would say Twins because there's at the end of the day, what's hard about Brutallus is the one or two things. But Twins has let's worry about the WOTLK tank dropping his shit right. Let's worry about nobody jumping over this ledge. Let's worry about the healing. Let's worry about threat and everything else that comes into it. So I'd probably say Twins is next in my opinion. What do you think, Jordy?
Yeah, agreed.
Would you put it up there with Maru?
Would you put it up in S tier as well?
Yeah,
or actually, rather instead of two
Twins
S's, would you put them in order? Like we could make a sixth row and put them all in order. See which one's the hardest.
I did. I ranked them in my
row.
first impressions video.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think. Yeah. I
Let's
think
just do one.
I think
two.
Mirror and then Twins. Yeah.
There you go.
And then after that, I would say
Definitely Brutallus.
probably Kil'jaeden. in my
Oh, Brutallus getting wrecked. Kil'jaeden harder.
Kil'jaeden has more things than Brutallus.
Yeah.
Brutallus once again, while as hard as Brutallus feels like it is, at the end of the day, that's
You'll
not nearly
wipe-
as much things as there is on KJ that you got to worry about. And remember,
Depending on-
Classic Bane is a lot of mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, depending on your guild, you'll wipe more on either Brutallus or Kil'jaeden. I don't. Yeah.
Later on, do you think which bosses do you? Well, when I get to the end, I guess. But like the bosses that your gear will carry you a lot more on, Brutallus will be one of those as well.
For sure, he'll be
Yeah.
very easy long term.
Yeah.
I think when it's all said and done, Twins will probably remain the one that kind of gets people because of the conflags. A
Yeah,
lot of your
I
gear
agree.
is going to
Yeah.
continue to kill you, still kill you.
Yeah. Twins will probably be the hardest at the end, and then our last two. Little Felmyst. Which one are we thinking is?
I would say Felmyst. Maybe I don't know. They're all kind of. I'd probably say Kalecgos actually because you can mess up the portals. Man, I don't know. Those are two pretty easy fucking fights, bud.
The thing about Kalecgos is there's trash too, right? Because like, if you don't get him in that first 2 hours, you have to fucking re-clear trash, which sucks.
Yeah.
I think that defaults to make it harder, to my opinion. Felmyst is just you're gonna wipe a couple times trying to get your positioning in phase 1 with the master spells and stuff, and maybe like realizing how hard encapsulate hits, and then you're gonna be good.
Yeah.
Like I don't even see guilds fucking up phase 2 at all, as long as you guys are listening to your raid leader or looking, right?
So you guys think just week 1, anyone going in there, rarely will people be just hard stuck on Kalecgos. They might have a lot of issues with Brutallus, let's be real. But then once they have that down, they're going to be able to kill the first 3. Moving on to Twins.
Yeah, I think in terms of, I get asked this a lot, in terms of week 1 clearing, I think a lot of guilds are not going to clear week 1. I think a lot of guilds won't clear the first few bosses. If they do, they'll probably take their stop on Twins. Maybe, all right, guys, Twins it up. Because if you're going that 3 hours a day, 3 hours a week, or maybe 2 nights, 3 hours a week, whatever, you're gonna be stuck here, bro. We're on PTR with a full group of pumpers, and we were 3-4. It was those hours were nothing when we first got in here. Granted, now by the time this comes out, there's gonna be a lot of guys by multiple people and everything that help you walk you through all this. But even then, like we can't press the buttons for you guys, right? So it's gonna be kind of. I think it's gonna be a rough first week for people, which I like. I like that. It's not a bad thing either. I don't think it's bad. It's not retail where we're wiping. You have 3 days a week you're raiding and you're wiping 100,000 times. It's just a good, respectable. You want the best gear in the game, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys looked at this list lately, but it's phenomenal fucking gear that people get.
Yeah, you replace like everything. Everyone replaces like almost everything. It's like, oh, I still want my 4 set. It's like, well, now you have boots and belt and bracers. It'll
be very interesting, and it's going to be really rewarding. And I think some guilds, this is definitely the first. I didn't play much Classic, but I'm going to say this anyway. This is definitely the hardest raid that any Classic people have seen so far. So all the bosses are probably harder than all the bosses in all the other raids. I think maybe Vaj could fit in somewhere here, but other than that, it's going to be the first time that Classic people who have not played retail or whatever are going to see hard raids, and it's very rewarding, man. It's exciting too. It's like, yeah, wipe 10 times, it's okay, but when you do get that kill, it's going to feel amazing, and you just want to keep going at that, and don't be distraught for it being hard,
Yeah, do you agree with that,
Nax
Jordy?
is coming up next after that again, and that'll be nice and easy. So enjoy this little fucking hard thing before we go back to just blowing through Nax again and lynching.
Do you agree with that, Jordy?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is dependent on whether or not they gate the last 3, right? Because if you're killing the first 3 for a couple weeks and you're getting that gear, And then you're killing the first 4 for a couple weeks, and you're getting like I think you'll have a lot easier time with Muru and Kil'jaeden.
I hope they don't gate it. I don't see them doing that. Is that weird?
I hope for our guild they don't.
I
but
don't
kinda
think-
hope for the game itself that they do.
I
Because
agree,
then
but I
need
don't
to
think
make
they
it
will.
The first 3 harder. And also, how long is that going to be?
They're never gonna do that.
Yeah.
Let's make it harder.
I also agree. I think the same thing, right? Like, I would prefer for them not to, because I love watching them race to world first. But I think for the health of the game itself, it technically might be better for them. Although a huge draw and attention for the game and the hype of the game is watching this these world first races.
Yeah.
It'd be
Yes.
lame
If
if you
you're
split
watching-
it, though. It's gonna be lame if you split
Please
it.
don't. Please don't.
Get the fuck out of here with that shit. This is a new generation of gamers. Do not fucking split Sunwell. Drop all 6 of those goddamn bosses on there and let us go in there. Don't do that. Don't fucking do that shit. You already rushed our goddamn game for the next one. Don't fucking hurt us like that.
Yeah.
That is the best point against it, is that the cadence of release is a lot faster than it used to be, and so we're gonna have less time with Kil'jaeden than we would have if they gate it. So I would like it very much if they don't.
World first race, I was already ruined when they allowed people to practice in PTR. I agree. I agree and don't agree. Like the Black Temple one was fine. It wasn't up that much, but now
Yeah.
this one being up for a while, it's fine. But the thing is, motherfuckers is still gonna struggle. The PTR helped out the race, yeah, but that only helped out that top 1%, 2% guilds, right? It's gonna be fucking
Yeah, the people that really went in there
Now it's
and
gonna
tested
be-
everything.
Yeah, the world first was in 2008. Yeah, but that's different. World first. People were garbage back in the day. They weren't as they weren't all garbage, right? But they were not
World
nearly
first, I knew
the caliber
someone
of
would
gaming
say.
as we were now. And also now, if you look at a world first race versus back then, is look how much we're skipping. Look how much, like if you looked at Black Temple for world first and the other one, look how different those world first races are. So the argument of this is the second one doesn't even matter to me, because the grades are getting cleared so much faster that first time through. All these skips are happening that never happened. All these other shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's that argument.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how things go. It'll be interesting. We'll see if Blizzard even announces it before, like, a week before they casually drop the raid. They're like, oh, by the way, the raid is live. You know how Blizzard likes to do it. But I'm really excited. I'm personally really excited. The loot in here is absolutely insane. I know, Jordy, you are doing a loot prio breakdown later today. And I know you guys have put together a really good and pretty comprehensive loot prio list. I know those are always kind of a meme, but one thing that's really good in here is that you can, if you get bad loot drops, you can trade them. So that's one of, like, at least for like random pieces, there's a lot of things you can trade. So that's really exciting.
Except for it's not that good of gear, but yeah.
Yeah.
All the stuff that you can turn into other shit with sun motes you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff is not that good. I mean, it's good for some classes, but
Some things are good. But obviously there's going to be
a loot prio episode soon, maybe next.
Yeah. I think we should
have Ready come on after he's done his already, so I think put some shine on that video too. It'd be kind of good. People absolutely adored our last one. Wink, wink. Fantastic. We'll get a tank on here.
I just DM'd you the
Let's get Baron on here, huh? You think Baron will come on here for a big loot pro episode?
I don't know. He doesn't really care about loot. He has everybody else do loot. This is the sheet.
Mhm.
We're gonna go over this tonight, and then I'll release it in the morning. So
let me move 1 second.
if you notice, there's a lot of moments of don't flame me, play over class, etc.
Oh no, I messed this up. 1 sec.
Oh no,
Warrior Warlocks.
There we go.
I was on his ass. He's already got it
Almost.
fixed. He's good. He's great. This is great.
There. All right. Yeah, caster loot, physical loot, going over everything, and BiS lists, and showing how everything kind of compares. What I really liked was on this list, and it's hard here. Let me move Crix's face again. 1 sec. Is that you show how contested items are. I mean, it doesn't correlate exactly for how big of an upgrade it is, but just seeing how, like, having a heat map for how contested all of the items are, like the Tattered Cape being BiS for five separate classes. You can't see it. Ring of Omnipotence BiS for 5 classes, which is everybody, right? is really good. So I'm really excited for you guys to go over this later tonight, and to share this list with all the BiS lists. Reminder, of course, when he does this tonight, it is realistic BiS. There's always an absolute BiS, and someone's always going to fight for absolute BiS, but this is the last phase, and a lot of items are almost the exact same. Okay, let me do the shout out to Jordy. I don't know. Yo, it did work. Yeah, I was like, why didn't? Yeah, I was
Thank
like,
you guys. I appreciate
I was linking Jordy because at some point, when are you gonna go live, Jordy?
yeah.
Speedrun tonight too, right?
We're speedrunning in 3-ish hours, and then we'll
Right, so
do it after.
he's doing a fusion speedrun and the Prios. He has a
And the
fast one
Prios
today, so
tonight.
make sure you're following him already.
And Crix, are you going live after this?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
about 5 minutes. Yeah,
Perfect. Because
I got Raid tonight as well. I got Doom tonight too, so I'm gonna go.
yeah.
I still
This
have
sheet-
nobody for some reason the past month has taken my #1 spot yet, so I'm gonna just try to get it a little further up there. So because
All right.
he's like 10 DPS off for me.
yeah, just keep pumping. I love
Throttle.
it. Yeah,
Hopefully a skull drops, bro.
dude. Hell yeah. And hopefully,
I want to stall!
hopefully you guys get a 55-minute. Huge shout out to Newman for a 55:10 speed run today. The only guild even close right now to noobs. But the sheet will be released. This sheet will be released on Jordy's YouTube channel, so make sure to check out his YouTube channel. And if you want to see it, we'll also do a Loot Prio video, of course, of an episode of the
Can you
Classic Cast.
Close the sheet so I don't.
You can tell Rogue did the warrior sheet.
Oh my god.
Alright, guys, that's why
perfect.
he's doing it live. So for any
Look at the
other
mirror
adjustments
wipes.
that can be made.
Forgot that I had this up. Imagine 12 hours of wiping on one boss, guys. Welcome to retail.
That's retail.
That's
love, baby.
retail.
Tell you what, that kill probably feels really good when did they kill it? Did they kill it at all?
Yeah, I
Was it
think so.
79
Yeah.
one to kill?
All encounters, 1 kill, 79 wipes. Yeah.
Cool.
Worth it. Hashtag worth it.
I want to look at the first roster and see how much, like the first one right there, their first kill or first wipe, and then look at the kill and see how.
Oh, I don't even
name 25 people.
I doubt it. I'd have to find this. This was just
Right there in
sent.
front of you, like that.
No, this is a
That
screenshot.
is such a fucking legendary.
It's just a screenshot.
That
But
is legendary.
Oh, I
This-
see. Okay.
yeah, this isn't the actual vlog, but
hilarious.
it's crazy. But with that being said, Jordy, thanks for coming on the show tonight. This was awesome. We love having you, of course.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
I know you have your
Have you on
speed
again
run.
here, brother?
Yeah, definitely. I know you have your speed
Your
run
Loot Prio
tonight
one.
and your Loot Prio video tonight. So, guys, make sure to check out Jordy's channel. One more time, shout out to our boy Jordy.
We'll also do like we want Cosmo back on here soon.
Yes.
And like Cosmo and Jordy, Cosmo's doing his big like guide sheet thing, that spell spreadsheet that he did. He's already working on it, and that'll be. I don't know when he's gonna be done with that, but whenever he is done with that, we're gonna do another episode where it'll probably be just us three, and then add Cosmo to it, or we'll go over that sheet again. I think I don't know if our next episode, it's on Monday. I don't know if we're doing that. We wanted to do like a PvP tier, like a PvP listing episode, kind of like we did the PvE one, but depending on. It's gonna be tentative depending on.
Look at this. He is so good at this.
Yeah,
shit.
dude, you guys
Yeah.
should
It's
see his fucking
amazing.
Sunwell one. It's even better than this, bro. It's crazy.
The crazy also is
Yeah,
that
dude,
he
it's fucking
tracked
crazy.
every mob. He tracked literally every single mob and all of their pats.
Yeah.
So these are the
Wargamlox has
actual
those
pats.
maps too.
Yeah. But
That's
this was
pretty crazy.
before
I like
that.
Insanity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So shout out
It's a
to our
lot
boy
of fun.
Cosmo.
Yeah. So whenever he's done with that, we're definitely gonna. I'm shouting him out too. Whenever he's done with that, we'll have him on here. And I don't know if we're gonna do the listing episode next week or a Sunwell episode. It's gonna depend on if there's like an announcement or something. Then maybe we will. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe
Yeah.
get some more Sarthe runs in and then do another one episode. But we should do like a. Yeah. let's do
Also, I
another
wanna-
one. We'll see. We'll wait. We'll see. We'll do something soon.
I also want to cover speed runs soon, so we'll do that soon
Okay.
before the phase is over.
We'll alternate, yeah, let's do. Okay, that's perfect. Then we can just alternate. Do those ones on yours.
Yeah.
Speed running ones is perfect.
Yeah.
We'll have some more speed runs within a couple weeks, right?
Link to the Black Temple guide here. Let me share. This is Cosmo's. Actually, I think you could just. I think there was a command on my channel. But yeah. Thanks for coming again, guys. Shout out to you guys. Thanks always. I love doing these episodes. I love doing these podcasts. Crix, I'm gonna host you in a few because I have class soon. So
Like 2
just
minutes.
let me know when you're live. Yeah. And Jordy, thanks for being here, brother. Good luck in the speed run tonight.
Thanks.
One more
Yes.
time, thanks to
We'll get this
your
up on the
wife.
internet tonight or tomorrow morning. It'll be up. We both trying to post it at the same time.
Yeah, I'll download this, guys, and we'll get this up live for everyone to see soon. Last time, shout out to Newman for their run. Huge grats to them. And let's see how things go. I'm excited for Sunwell. So thanks for coming, guys.
Gang.
Peace.